Yo, Atlas speaking, and welcome to part 2 of What If I Was Reborn in One Piece as a Fishman and became the king of the great Fishman Empire. Let the tale begin. Chapter 31, Red-Haired Shanks. 1 year passes and many things happen during it. The warlords of the sea system is put in place to help the Marines have a balance in power, and help them manage the 4 emperors of the sea, Big Mom, Kaido, Whitebeard, and Sea Monster Jaw. Each of them is dangerous to the extreme, and even the newcomer Jaw has been creating many waves in the New World. Now officially, Fishman Island is officially associated with the Yonko Jaw. Though Whitebeard too has some influence on it. But still, Jaw is the major player on the island, and he seems to have some type of friendship/alliance with Whitebeard too. Jaw has also started to have the fishermen and mere people under him to go and mine the untouched resources at the bottom of the ocean floor. This brought him an unimaginable amount of wealth, plus together with his power, he was able to form alliances with many countries who were part of the world government. Of course, quite a bit of these deals were made behind closed doors. He is still officially a pirate, but at the same time, he now has the backing of many kings and queens who will join the revelry. His power is off-putting many world government officials, so they raised his bounty to 2,260,000,000 set. Though officially he did nothing wrong during the time his bounty was raised, and his army isn't truly as big or skilled as some of the other Yonko. But Jaw represents the same threat as all of them. He could be considered even more dangerous due to his ability to influence even a part of the world, just like the world government. During this time a certain red-haired pirate was traveling to the East Blue, going towards a certain village. He is on his ship as he browses through the newspaper while sitting at the edge of his ship. Damn. Seems like Jaw is really putting in the work here. There seem to be some rumors of him collaborating with some political figures in order to slow down marine raids at his bases in the New World. Says Shanks out loudly as Ben Beckman walks next to him with a cigarette in his mouth. Well, Captain, I must say, I could have never thought of the strategies that he used. He did a fast climb up the stairs, and now he is officially a Yonko. His bounty keeps rising too, so he definitely isn't slowing down anytime soon. Also, he doesn't currently have any hostile interactions with any of the Yonko. He and Big Mom are now at a ceasefire. Whitebeard and he are kinda working together, with Kaido and him being indifferent, though it's likely that Kaido will go and challenge him for a fight soon. Explains Ben Beckman, already having figured the secret relationships between the Yonko just by taking a glimpse of the newspaper. He wasn't known as the smartest man in East Blue for nothing. Shanks shakes his head at this and lies down on the deck of his ship. Wah, that is kinda amazing for him to do all of that, and he is still only 20. Also, his crew isn't exactly strong too, so he really did it all alone. But that will come to bite him in the ass one day, says Ben Beckman with a cold tone. Shanks looks at him questionably. His second in command just shakes his head and continues. Without a strong crew to manage his territories and protect them, sooner or later, someone like Big Mom will most likely come to fight him once again. Shanks shrugs at this. Welp, if that happens, I will help him. Ha 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 ha. Ben Beckman looks at his captain strangely. You do know that we already have had a couple of skirmishes with Kaido. This could spell a big problem for us if another Yonko comes hunting for us. Shanks laughs out loud again. Ha ha ha, well, me and him are friends. You know that friends must help each other too. Plus, even if one Yonko comes after us, we will at the same time gain the alliance of another one. Ben Beckman shakes his head again at his captain. But he still had a smirk on his face as Shanks said that. He knows that his captain isn't someone who abandons his friends. A couple of hours later, the crew arrives at a place called Fusha Village. They plan for this to be their temporary base as the men relax a little after all of the recent battles in the New World, and also the whole thing with Mihawk. The swordsman was persistent, that is for sure. Mihawk and Shanks had already clashed numerous times in the New World. As they dock on the shore of the Fusha village. Seeing the ship, the villagers were scared because they thought that this might be a pirate attack. Some of them even have pitchforks and other tools that aren't usually used for fighting. But they weren't going to give up so easily. As Shanks walks down from his ship's board, he looks at the villagers, and when he sees their aggressive demeanor, he smiles at them politely and says, Sorry about the inconvenience, we are just here for a drink. I promise that we won't cause any havoc or anything like that. The villagers just looked at him strangely, but a black-haired kid with short blue pants and a white shirt with an anchor figure in it tries to run towards Shanks, but another dark-haired kid, he is handsome, and even though he seems to only be around 8 years old, the kid already shows signs of great appearance. He is wearing dark pants and a white shirt as he says to the other kid, "Stop struggling, Luffy, you are being annoying right now. Itachi, let me go, I will beat the sh*t out of that tomato-haired pirate." Screams Luffy out loud, and the scream attracts the attention of the villagers, who look at Luffy with annoyance in their eyes. There is no need to try and offend a pirate to his face like this. They look at Shanks, and the mayor of the village comes forward shakingly and says, "Captain, please forgive Luffy, he is but a child." Shanks' straw hat covers his eyes and makes him seem intimidating, at least that is until. Ha ha ha. Laughs Shanks out loud, and his crew as they come out one by one laugh too. Shanks looks at one of his crew members. He is an overweight man and his name is Lucky Roo. "Roo, did ya hear that? Ah, the kid called me tomato hair." Roo takes a bite out of a piece of meat on his hand and looks at Shanks' hair. They kinda do look like the top of a tomato. The Roo starts laughing too. Ha 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 ha. I see it now. The kid was right, Captain. It didn't take long for the villagers to get comfortable with the surprisingly merry pirates. Soon enough, and Shanks was buying everyone in the village drinks. They too were partying as if they have known each other for a lifetime. Luffy too warmed to them and asked Shanks, as the man sat on the bar, talking with Makino. "So Shanks, have you been in any adventure lately?" asks Luffy, excited at the prospect of meeting a pirate. Shanks looks at Luffy and is about to answer, but suddenly a drunk Yasopp comes out of nowhere and puts an arm around Luffy. So, *hiccup Luffy, did you know that I have a son? Immediately Shanks cringes as he sees Yasopp do that. Whenever the man gets drunk, he always starts telling stories of his son, stories that Shanks has heard hundreds of times already. Shanks slides away as Yasopp starts telling Luffy his story. Welp, hopefully, the kid will keep him occupied and listen to Yasopp's hour-long stories about his son. Thinks Shanks hopefully as he looks and smiles at Makino again. That is when he notices a kid helping Makino. The kid had dark eyes and his hair was tied in a long ponytail behind his back. The kid is helping Makino with different things but seems to be mostly helping her cook. As Makino gets close to Shanks, she has a mischievous smile on her face. But the former can't help but ask, "Who is that kid?" Makino comes out of her stupor and looks towards Itachi. She has a sad look on her eyes as she looks at him. Shanks notices this and is ready to stop the subject, but Makino starts telling him. Well, he is Itachi, and he. Chapter 32, The world is not perfect, but it's not that bad. Makino looks at Itachi sadly. She knows how hard he must have had it as a child growing up in Great Terminal. She knows exactly how hard it can be for a child to grow up there. Plus someone with a good heart like Itachi, it's even harder. The first time he appeared here he was wearing rags. Says Makino, she remembers when this happened a couple of months before. He had an empty look on his eyes and the mayor decided to help him. It seemed like there were some rumors that he has been part of Great Terminal for countless years. Shanks looks at Itachi with a curious look in his eyes. He can sense a person's strength with his observation haki, and strangely Itachi is stronger than the average 8-year-old, way stronger than people his age. But he didn't find it weird at all. There are countless people who are naturally born stronger than normal. Whether that takes them somewhere or not depends on their choice. What they didn't realize was that Itachi was a Yonko's son. So even though Itachi is never able to approximate his strength with his siblings, he was comparing himself with monsters. Each of his siblings is a monster in his own right. When compared with people their age, all of Jaw's children are monsters, pure and simple monsters. Jaw doesn't go easy even on his more talented children. So Itachi sees himself as weak in his family, but anywhere else, and he is considered monstrously strong. Wonder who his parents are? to abandon their children, just like that. Especially Itachi, who is a nice kid and all around nice. Says Makino, bringing Shanks out of his thoughts. He smiles at this and now his concentration is back to Makino. Itachi, on the other hand, has a calm look on his face as he is cooking some rice and vegetables for one of Shanks' crew members. He gives Shanks a side glance and can't help but think. That guy, he is strong, stronger than even Kisame. Wonder who he is? The pirate crew party all night, and after they go back to their ship to sleep, and some fall over and sleep on the road while trying to bring their blacked out fellow crew members to the ship. But many of them tumbled and started sleeping on the roads. Makino was washing the dishes and organizing them. Itachi couldn't reach the high shelves, so he was cleaning the floor with a mop. Making told him that his shift was over and that he could go back to sleep. That is when the door opens again in the middle of the night and Itachi says, "We are closed already, you can come back in the morning. I am here to help clean up," says a familiar voice to Itachi, who then looks up and sees a smiling Shanks looking at him. Itachi has a calm look on his face and then he points towards the room with the staff-only sign. "You can find a mop in there," says Itachi nonchalantly. Shanks nods with a smile and goes to pick a mop. Itachi then notifies Makino by saying, "Makino, your red-haired boyfriend is back." When Makino hears this, she just says to Itachi, "I only just met him, and you are too young to understand what boyfriend means, Itachi." Itachi nods at this. Of course, I don't know anything about that." Makino smiles when she hears Itachi say things like that. He is a very charismatic kid, that is for sure. "Well, I just found some mops, I am ready to start," says Shanks as he comes out of the staff room with a mop in his hands. Then they start cleaning the pub. Half an hour later they are done. Shanks goes back to his ship, while Makino and Itachi go to the second floor of the bar. That is where they live. Itachi too, since Makino took him and Luffy in, taking care of them. As Itachi enters his room, it is a very minimalistic room with only a bed, desk, and a shelf of different cookbooks, as well as books on carpentry, medicine, and many other miscellaneous things. He then pulls a drawer out in his desk and removes the bottom of the drawer, revealing a hidden compartment with a sleeping transponder snail inside it. He picks up the dindinmashi and calls a certain number. Immediately as he did so, he took a bottle of sweet strawberry juice bottle. Kacha. He turns the snail towards the wall and a projection appears on the wall. It is his father and siblings in a live meeting. "Yo! Son, how have you been? Want to come back home?" asks Jaw, with a smile on his face. He has Naruto on the top of his head and a dozen other baby members of his sleeping siblings on his arms. Mikoto takes this time to make herself known by jumping up in front of Jaw and saying to Itachi, "Don't listen to Dad, he is just very cranky. Ever since you left he has photos of you all over his office and he looks at them all day long. This is just Dad's way of saying that he misses you." Jaw grabs Mikoto by the top of her head and says, "So what? Do you think it's wrong for me to miss my son? I know that you also have photos of him and hide them under your bed." Mikoto blushes at this and tries to defend herself by saying, "No, I don't." Itachi smiles at his family. This is something that they do every evening, talking to each other. Well, it's supposed for Itachi to give reports, and they know that when he joins the Marines he won't be able to talk to them every night. So they spend all of this time talking to Itachi and messing around. Itachi sees Naruto frown and jumps from Jaw's head and out of the frame. "Meow. Dad! Naruto is fighting his cat again," says one of Itachi's siblings. Itachi can't help it as a smile appears on his face. The world is not perfect, but it's not that bad. As long as I have them I will never be alone, thinks Itachi, his resolve strengthening as he looks at his siblings playing around. I want to protect them so they never have to worry about anything and that they always can be as carefree as they want. Almost 1 hour passes as Itachi spends time with his family. He has to sometimes turn down the volume as his siblings are being too loud and he doesn't want to wake up Makino next room. And as all of his siblings go to sleep, only his father is left on the projection and he says to him, "Itachi, remember, when the world is not kind, if we have each other, then we will all be fine. You will have a family to fall back on, so no need for you to stress yourself out about this." Itachi nods at this with a smile on his face. "Of course, father." That is when they close the call. Itachi knows that his father doesn't feel good having his son so far away from his protection, and even though Jaw and Kakashi worked out countless plans for him. "You worry too much, father, but one day, I will be so strong that you don't have to worry anymore," thinks Itachi as he goes to sleep, while at the same time creating a couple of clones using his double-double fruit. Though he can't absorb the experience that his clones get, he can get their memories, so studying for him is quite easy. Chapter 33, Two Different Parts of the Same Coin. Weeks pass since Shanks arrives at Fusha village. It doesn't take long for him and Luffy to get close. Luffy saw him as the type of person he wanted to be, and Luffy even told Shanks that he wanted to join his crew. Of course, Shanks rejected him and told him that he can join once he is older, like in 10 years. "No way, by then I could have my own crew," says Luffy out loudly. Shanks just laughs at him. "Ha ha 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 ha. Luffy, to join my crew you will need to be brave and all that, plus you must be able to at least swim." "Ha ha ha," says Shanks in between his laughs. "You will see," shouts Luffy as he claims Luffy as he stands on his chair. "My crew will be way stronger than yours." Shanks and his crew just laugh at Luffy, and that is when Usopp comes and drunkenly asks, "Luffy, did I ever tell you about my son Usopp?" Itachi just looks at this from the sidelines. He is currently just washing some glasses. He then turns around and continues washing the glass. "They are really loud," thinks Itachi. Shanks is joking around with Luffy, and that is when another Itachi comes and brings him some food. He suddenly stops and, "What?" thinks Shanks shockingly. "I must be really drunk seeing stuff like this now. I just saw another Itachi." He blinks a couple more times and then he looks at Itachi again, or more correctly two of them. "What, does Itachi have a twin brother or something?" Luffy stops talking and looks at the two Itachis. His eyes widen and even Shanks' whole crew looks surprised at this. "Why, exclaims the whole bar. Even Makino looks surprised as she comes out of the kitchen and sees two Itachis. Itachi is the only calm person in the bar as he once again looks up, but looks back down as he wipes down another glass. "Oh, I just ate a strange fruit recently, and have been able to do this." Shanks immediately knows what Itachi means by this. He got a devil fruit. While he was shocked momentarily, Shanks smiled and says, "So you got a devil fruit, huh?" Itachi just shrugs at this uncaringly. "Yep, always thought those things were just children's stories, but it seems like they are true." While this was all happening, the actual real Itachi was in the forest doing some push-ups with a giant boulder on his back. 1568. 1569. Counts Itachi inside his head as sweat continuously drips out of his body. He was extremely tired, but he pushed himself even further. He also didn't have to worry about the boulder crushing him as he had two of his clones ready to catch the boulder. After this, it is the 100 kilometers run around the shores. Who knows, maybe I will be able to use Jeppo and Sora soon enough. Contemplates Itachi as he tries to keep his mind busy and not think about the pain. This was one of the ways his father taught him how to ignore the pain from training. A couple of hours later and he comes back home to Makino's bar. He sees that the two clones that he left here are still working on the bar. Shanks' crew was also still just having fun and messing around. That is when he sees that Luffy had some tears on his eyes and a band-aid under his right eye. He just walks into the back and absorbed one of his clones. That is how he gets one of their memories and sees that Luffy did something dumb once again. He made a cut under his eye to show his bravery. Not even Naruto is that dumb. Contemplates Itachi as he can't help it but think about his family. During this time, in the New World, on an island where lightning keeps falling repeatedly like rain. Underground, where a Yonko's real base is, there is where Jaw and his family live. Currently, Jaw was sparring with one of his sons. he had orange hair and blue eyes. He was also using an axe that is twice the size of his body. Jaw easily dodges Escaner's attacks, and that is when the latter roars out loudly, and Escaner's body muscles suddenly expand and his arm becomes super muscular. He swings again towards Jaw, and Jaw easily dodges again and says, "Escaner, even if your muscle fruit allows you to have a lot of physical power, that means nothing if you can't hit your enemy. You should try to buff up the muscles on your legs too. Who knows, you might be able to use sword too." Escaner nods at this and frowns a little. Recently, he was gifted the muscle fruit by his father, and he was able to match someone like Kisame on raw strength. It is true that they are both the same, and Escaner was only able to match Kisame's raw strength with the help of his devil fruit. But that still is something amazing to everyone. Kisame can literally easily pick up a small-sized ship and throw it around with no problem. Escaner's arm deflates, and instead, his whole body becomes a little bulkier. He spread his power around Ho's body instead of concentrating it in one place. He then throws the axe at Jaw. Fwash! But his father just extends his hand and catches the axe easily. You also need to try learning hockey soon. Kisame already learned armament hockey. Escaner nods at this. Unlike most of his other siblings, he is calm and likes to take things seriously. He is serious about everything he does and has been allocated by Jaw as the person who will in the future train his soldiers. Escaner is of course very proud of this achievement of his. He knows that his father really trusts him and believes in his abilities. Kisame at the moment was sparring against Kakashi. While he has a giant hunky metal sword that is twice his body size. Kakashi on the other hand has just a simple spear. Mikoto was on the sidelines with many of her siblings looking at another one of Kakashi and Kisame fights. They fought countless times against each other, and while Kisame dominates in speed, power, and durability, Kakashi is the exact opposite, as he likes to dodge Kisame's attacks. He isn't at fault either, as Kisame's attacks are very powerful to the point where even in the outside, there ain't not a lot of New World pirates that can take on such an attack unscathed. But Kakashi has a secret that he doesn't tell Kisame. "Begin!" calls out Mikoto. Immediately, the ground under Kisame cracks as he uses Sora to get close to Kakashi in an instant, and he goes for a punch at his head. But the latter dodges this attack by simply jumping back and perfectly dodging it. Kisame then swings his dull, giant sword at Kakashi, and due to the sword's giant size, Kakashi was still within the sword's range. But as the sword gets closer, Kakashi easily maneuvers his body midair and dodges the attack. What he was using was observation hockey. Jaw didn't even need to train Kakashi in the technique, he was naturally gifted on the color of observation. Chapter 34, Strength. Many months passed by, and Shanks extended his stay in Fusha village. It was the scene that has now become a very familiar scene to see the red-haired pirates just messing around in Fusha village. Some villagers and crew members became very good friends. It was a truly strange sight, seeing a normal villager and pirate being friends. Shanks was also in Makino's bar. She giggles a little again as she hears another one of Shanks' jokes about some of the silly moments during his journey. That is when some bandits come in, and also due to not having any booze, Shanks offers them a bottle. They humiliate Shanks by breaking the bottle over his head. Luffy, of course, is angry, but Itachi, who was in the background, didn't say anything. That is lame as hell. Letting people beat you around. If it was Dad, he would kill the bandits, and their whole families too. But I guess some people don't mind being beaten around. Contemplates Itachi as his opinion of Shanks plummets down. He knows that Shanks can beat the bandits. He has that feeling of danger when he looks at Shanks, just like his father or Kisame. What is the use of power if you don't use it? Itachi just looks at Luffy as he eats a devil fruit. He doesn't do anything. His father has given him certain instructions that he must follow. He is allowed to improvise, but he should follow the instructions his father and Kakashi worked so hard to come up with. Itachi just sighs at this. He knows that the bandits will come back. That is the reality of the world. Problems left unsolved will come to bite you in the ass. Itachi POV. Father always says that for each action we take, there are reactions. If one can predict the reactions that his actions will have, then one will be able to slightly predict his own future. Anyway, I should try learning Sora soon. I know how to learn it and many other techniques. I just need the necessary strength to do so. Tomorrow Shanks leaves, and as expected the bandits come again in the bar. Now and normally I wouldn't care about any of this, but a blockhead like Luffy is here. As soon as the bandit leader, whatever his name is, starts talking bad about Shanks and the rest of his crew. Sheesh, did you see those guys? And they call themselves pirates. They are a lame excuse of a criminal. It makes sick to my stomach that I am in the same category as that coward. Luffy's Z body shakes in anger and I just go to the back, knowing what is already gonna happen. Hey, you! You are the losers. Shanks isn't a coward. I hear Luffy yelling as I go to the wine cellar. But as my hand touches the doorknob I stop. Sigh. Some people truly do seek death, and some people like me who are truly hypocrites. I have the power, so maybe I should use it. Sorry, Dad, but I will act however I want. You told me that I can improvise, so I will. General POV. On the outside, Luffy was on the ground being kicked by the bandits. What a childish voice says. Oi! I would suggest that you don't kick my friend over there. The bandits turn around to see who said that and see Itachi with an apron on come out and say, he is a regular customer, and he has quite a lot to pay from his tab. Him dying would make me lose that money. The village elder had already bowed and it hadn't worked, so the bandits weren't ready to listen to a kid. I think you should go inside, kid, or you might get hurt, says one of the bandits as he points his gun towards Itachi, who just shakes his head slightly and says, well, sadly for I am not like Shanks, so when someone threatens me, says Itachi as his hair covers his eyes in a shadow. Fwash! Before the bandit who has a gun pointed at Itachi can say anything, Itachi like a shadow appears behind him and kicks the back of the bandit's knee. That brings the bandit to his level and slap! Crack! Like a twig, with just a simple slap Itachi broke that bandit's neck. The other bandits are shocked at this and immediately they start shooting at Itachi. Pow! 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 Itachi! Yell the villagers in worry, and even Luffy has tears in his eyes when he sees that. But before the bullets ease and leave their barrels, Itachi grabs the dead bandit's body and uses it as a shield against the other bandits. Due to him having a small 8-year-old body, the bandit's body is sufficient to cover him. He then grabs the gun of the dead bandits and shoots back. Pow! 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 He shots one of the bandits twice in the chest and then in the head, killing him immediately. Click! But not long after Itachi runs out of bullets and the bandits do too, so they charge at him with their swords. Itachi has a cold look at this. He is best in close combat, so he will definitely kill them all easily now. But the leader of the bandits notices Itachi's calm look and then he remembers the young man's when he killed Kenny, Goon Bandit. Stop! He yells, stopping his men in his tracks, and Itachi just looks at the man questionably. The bandit leader takes his own pistol and points it at Luffy's head. I will shoot this little twerp if you make any move, kid. Itachi thinks for only a second and shrugs and nonchalantly says, shoot him, I am not willing to risk my life for him. But after that first shot, I will definitely be able to close the distance between us in a split second and kill you. As he says that, the bandit's body is filled with cold sweat and his heart feels like a drum to his ears. What? I am scared of a kid like him. Itachi notices this and calmly walks towards the bandit leader. The bandit leader just moves his gun from Luffy's head and points it towards Itachi. Stop. Itachi smiles at him. What are we gonna do? You gonna shot me? Then do it. Do it! Screams Itachi. Pow! The bandit shots at Itachi, whose body arches backward. The bandit smiles at this and the villagers are terrified of this. Makino screams at this. But as Itachi's back is about to touch the ground, He. A strange laugh comes out of him, and his body straightens up again. He then looks at the bandit leader with a smile on his face. Itachi has the bullet between his teeth. Crack! The bullet breaks and Itachi chews into it. Munch, munch, munch. He chews a couple of times and that is when. Spew! He spits out the hunk of metal on the ground, now fully deformed, and seemed like gum. But by this time the other bandits, though scared, had loaded their guns and had them pointed at Itachi. Pow! And one shot rings out. But instead of Itachi being hurt, one of the bandit goons falls on the ground, dead. Munch. Lucky Roo appears out of nowhere and has a smoking gun on his hand. Luffy, you said that your punch is as strong as a pistol, says Shanks as he and his crew return back. He then smiles at Luffy. Makino told me about everything that happened. Don't worry now, I will take care of everything. Itachi looks at Shanks and says, took you long enough. Poof! And in a puff of smoke, he disappeared, with another Itachi coming out of Makino's bar. Welp, I plan to sneak attack the bandit leader, but since Shanks is here, he can take care of it, thinks Itachi as he yawns and starts walking away, back into the bar. I will leave everything to you. Gotta go or the food will be burned. Shanks smiles when Itachi that. Keep some warm for me. Chapter 35, One Arm. A couple of hours and Itachi just looks at the scene in front of him with a dull look on his eyes. You lost an arm trying to save Luffy? Shanks just smiles at this. Yep, welp, it's nothing too big. I mean, an arm for a life is a very good deal in my eyes. He laughs as Makino bandages his stump with tears running along her face. Itachi just shrugs at this. Well, I don't know what to say. I thought that you had it under control, so I went inside the bar. Ha 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 ha. Shanks laughs out loudly with no care in the world. Luffy, on the other hand, has his head on the table crying so much that a small puddle was created under his head. He can't even look Shanks in the eyes. He feels guilty about Shanks' missing arm. A couple of hours later and Shanks leaves, but not before giving his straw hat to Luffy. As he was leaving, Itachi was there too, and Shanks smiled at him and waved. Itachi has a bored look on his eyes as he too waves back. Welp, he is definitely dying on the new world. Losing an arm will definitely make him weaker. The probabilities of him dying are quite high, though maybe his crew members are strong too, so that can cover his weakness. 1 week later and an old man with graying hair comes to Fusha village. He is also wearing some short pants and a short-sleeved red shirt with yellow flowers. He looked like your everyday man who is getting up in his age. Except for the giant marine warship and the dangerous aura, the man had put Itachi immediately on edge. Bomb! Makino's bar doors are opened forcefully and Luffy was explaining something to Itachi, who was only half listening to him. So, my crew will be like Shanks and have very small members. You mean a small number and not them being short, right? Asks Itachi nonchalantly. He is more concentrated on the old man who just entered. He can't help but contemplate the way he can sense the old man's power. Is my color of observation awakening? I have been able to sense people's strengths very clearly lately. Luffy nods, and this is when the old man speaks by saying, Luffy, it seems like you got some silly ideas about something while I was away. Immediately Luffy's face pales when he hears that. He then turns and looks at Garp. Gee, Grandpa! Exclaims Luffy in shock. Garp just grabs Luffy by the top of his head and sees that it feels rubbery. Huh? But then he uses Haki and immediately Luffy exclaims, Ow, ow, ow. Brat, did you eat a devil fruit? Asks Garp with an annoyed look on his face as he brings Luffy up to his face level. Itachi just goes about to ask the old man if he needs anything to drink or eat. Yes, I did. I got it from Shanks, says Luffy without missing a beat. Ah, that was a secret. Itachi's eye twitches a little. Even knowing Luffy for so long, he didn't expect him to be so honest, and stupid too. So that red-haired brat put that idea on your head, huh? Nothing a little stay on to Dayton won't fix, says Garp. You will also start your training now, and I won't go easy on you. So what can I get you, sir? Asks Itachi with a calm look on his face and a notebook on his hand. Garp now notices Itachi and asks again. What about you, Brett? Itachi looks at Garp strangely. What about me? You want to become a pirate too? No, I want to become a marine. Answers Itachi without even missing a beat. Anyway, want anything, old man? Garp smiles at Itachi and says, I think I can arrange for you to enter the Marines, brat. Itachi seems confused by this. Isn't the entrance age like 14, 16, or something like that? Ha 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 ha. Garp laughs out loudly. Don't worry, you will be in my division till you are 14 and can enter when you are 14. Itachi raises a questioning eyebrow at that. So? Are you some kind of big shot or something? I mean no disrespect, but I don't really know you, and I truly want to be a Marine and a Vice Admiral too, so I am not messing around. Gah, that is the spirit. Anyway, after I drop this brat to an old friend's place, I will come and train you to be a good future Marine. Says Garp. He seemed to be in a happy mood now as he puts Luffy on his shoulder like a sack of paper and walks off. 2 hours later and Garp is back. Okay brat, come with me. He picks Itachi by the back of his neck, just like a cat, and he then walks off. Makino was there too and she just smiled at Garp and waved at him and Itachi. Bye, see you later. Don't forget to come back for dinner, Itachi. In the forest, Garp brings Itachi to where some gorillas who are practicing boxing are. When you can beat them, I will show you the next stage of training. Explains Garp, who then sits down on a log as the monkeys charge towards Itachi. As the monkeys attack, Itachi easily dodges their initial attacks and pow! 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 In 3 fast jabs, the gorillas are immediately knocked out. Garp smiles at this. You are pretty strong. Well, some people are born naturally strong. But without training they become just another average Joe, never forget that brat. Itachi nods at this, his usual calm mask like always is on his face. What is the next stage of training? Next, they go to a river and a giant crocodile appears. Garp just points at it and says, beat him and then we will go to fight something else. Continuous fighting is the best training. Roar! The crocodile is about to attack Garp but Itachi appears on top of the creature and pow! Punches the crocodile on the top of its head, knocking it out. He knows that unless it is the Sea Kings his father made him fight, no animal will really be a danger to him. Garp smirks when he sees Itachi use only 1 punch to finish off every one of his opponents. The kid is strong for his age, not even 100 Marines would be able to defeat him. He is just that strong. Next, Itachi fought many land-based enemies, defeating them all easily. Of course, Garp wanted him to fight giant fish on water and such, but Itachi told him about his devil fruit. It was evening and Garp was truly impressed by Itachi. Do you train by yourself? Itachi nods, as they are cooking a boar. Yes, I usually do around 10,000 push-ups, squats, and a 10 to 100 kilometer run. Garp smiles at this. So you aren't just a lazy guy who is luckily strong, you work for your strength too. Itachi nods at him again, as he picks some herbs to season the boar. Obviously, talent without hard work is just trash. As Itachi says that, Garp smiles. To him, Itachi is someone promising and will become a Marine with a bright future in front of him. Garp stands up and says, Welp, since there is no one who can be your enemy on this island, then you will simply have to fight me, that way you can learn about people stronger than you and how to fight against a stronger opponent. Chapter 36, Limits. Title, Limits. As Itachi and Garp get ready for their spar, Garp comes to his decision. I need to teach him that he shouldn't be too arrogant and give him a view of how strong one can truly be. Garp has no intention in holding back his speed. He can see a lot of potential in Itachi, and even though something like the double fruit isn't a fruit that can push him to Admiral level, he knows that if Itachi truly trains as much as he can, then he has a chance of becoming a future admiral. Ready? Asks Garp as he has his hands in his pockets, expressing to Itachi that he isn't worried at all whether Itachi can beat him or not. Itachi on the other hand can kinda sense Garp's strength, so he knows that Garp is there at the level where his father is. A level where normal people can only look up to. Of course, whether Itachi's senses are truly accurate, it depends, and he too knows that. In the end, Itachi nods at Garp in confirmation. Fwash! And before he can react, the only thing he feels is a gust of wind and bomb! Everything goes dark to Itachi as he is immediately knocked out. Garp looks at this with a calm look on his face as Itachi falls on the ground. Hope I didn't hit him too hard. I honestly thought he would somehow dodge that first attack. Guess I have been fighting in the Grand Line too long to know how much strength I should use against someone around Itachi's strength. Thinks Garp out loudly as he then picks up Itachi, who has a big bump on the top of his head. Like this, Itachi spends a whole month training under Garp all day long, and in the evening Garp puts him to sleep by hitting him in the head. Every time Garp uses the same attack to knock him out. Whether he blocks, tries to dodge, or even uses clones as shields, one punch is what always takes him out. At least what he assumes to be a punch. One day as he woke up, like usual with bandages around his head. He would soon become 9 years old. He just gets up like usual and has some of his clones help in the bar while he does some stretches. As he does so, he goes outside and picks up the newspaper. As he does so, he is a little surprised by the news today. Fisher Tiger is dead. Fisher Tiger, the monster who terrorized the world and climbed the Red Line, is dead. He was finally captured by heroic Marines as he was going to savagely massacre another village. He had a hostage who was a little girl, but everything was perfectly done by the heroic Marines. As Itachi eats some breakfast and reads the article, he can't help but contemplate. This should be the crew which Jinbe is part of, right? So I guess he will join Dad's crew now. As he keeps reading along, he sees that Arlong was captured too. But that doesn't interest him at all. He just wonders what his father will do next. They haven't kept in contact at all recently due to Garp being here. He will not take the risk and ruin his plans so fast. Wonder what Dad is currently doing. Contemplates Itachi as a longing look appears in his eyes. At this time Jaw was just on the outskirts of Raijin Island. The lightning doesn't even bother him as it bounces off his skin. He has a rock on his hand. Jaw POV. I have been training endlessly this last year and noticed something. My physical power has reached its limit. Every being has a limit at how strong they can be. Sure, the limit might be high to some, and as a fishman, mine was high too. That is until I reached it, and I found out something terrifying. My raw physical power is nowhere near Big Mom or Kaido. I had this fantasy that as long as I keep training I will be able to physically grow stronger. It seems like that is not it at all. A mortal will always have a limit. Damn it. Fu *k. I am still weaker than the other Yonko, and only by using petty tricks I can defeat them. If I fight any of them on land I will easily be defeated, especially by Big Mom, who has fire abilities that would dry up my skin. Though Haki could be a way to fight off strong enemies, Haki can run out too, and it can't be said that Haki can grow indefinitely either. But as soon as I thought about reaching my raw physical limit, I thought about some things and figured something out. What about different techniques like Saimai Kikken, Life Return? It allows the user to control their bodily functions. I of course planned to learn it long ago, but I have no idea where to even start. I should just wait till Itachi learns how to do it from the Marines, and then he will teach it to me. That is the next technique that might allow me to surpass my physical limitations. Pow! The rock explodes as a shockwave comes from my hand. I didn't even use Haki to do this. This is Hasoken, the technique the Shinjo family uses. It can send shockwaves from each of their limbs. Now this style isn't really that strong in my eyes, as it can easily be overcome with high raw power. But combining the Hasoken principle with my Fishman karate should bring some satisfactory results, and it should help me fight even when I can't use Fishman karate. I sighed out once again. I guess that I should start searching for many different martial arts and such. I get up and *thunder. Asterisk. A giant bolt of lightning will hit me. Boom. Or at least that will happen 5 seconds from now. Boom! And as I predict, a bolt of lightning comes towards me. I just use hockey on my hand and boom! Slap the lightning bolt away, changing its direction. I am gonna go and pick a fight with Kaido soon. I know that he will come to challenge me, so I better make the first move. Also, I will announce Kisame as my child. He is strong enough and he can handle the pressure now and pull away from the attention of my other children. Honestly, I think that Kisame has a higher physical limit than me. Though I don't think he will ever grow stronger than me, he should be able to become quite strong in the future with my training. General POV. While Jaw was contemplating ways to raise his strength, Kisame also had his own thoughts on how to get stronger. I will challenge the next strongest fishman after Dad. The Knight of the Sea, Jinbe. And just like so, another year is concluded, Jaw and his children all pushing themselves to complete their father's dreams. The one dream which only someone like Jaw is allowed to have, he wants to have this world under his control. Chapter 37, Warlord of the Sea. I am currently in my throne room in my underground castle. I am sitting on my throne, a big decorated stone chair really. It has 2 shark head-like structures where I rest my arms. Kisame is to my right standing up straight, and even though he is only 9 he looks like he is 15 or even older. To my left is Kakashi. He has a lanky look and he has a spear in his hand. His hair, also spiking, goes up as if it is defying gravity. His bored-looking eyes look at the person kneeling before me. Though I know better than to assume that Kakashi is doing anything but analyzing the person. Kisame, on the other hand, has his guard up and is trying to sense with his observation haki just how strong the person is, and that person is Jinbe, the assumed second strongest fishman after me. I have a calm look on my face as I ask Jinbe, "What did you want to talk to me about, Jinbe?" Jinbe looks at me in the eyes, though he is still kneeling in front of me. "Jaw, I know that you only allowed me to join Brother Tiger on his journey because I said that I would join your crew after that." "Yes, I was pretty clear on that," I state to him, as I still look at him with a calm look on my eyes, though I do narrow my eyes at him a little, already knowing what he will ask. "As you know, humans have always had a problem with the fishmen and merfolk," states Jinbe. "Well, you could put it that way," says Kakashi. He has a deep understanding of the situation, and obviously he isn't close-minded enough to hate humans. He himself is half one. Also, I didn't raise my kids to be unnecessarily dumb. To them it doesn't matter, everyone who isn't family is a whole other race. Jinbe has a difficult look on his face, and in the end, he states, "I could join the Warlords of the Sea program that the Marines have in place." Boom! Before he can even say anything anymore, the room around me starts shaking and cracking as my conquerors haki explosively. My eyes glow red as my haki almost takes a literal physical form as it destroys everything around me. Even Jinbe looks nervous, and sweat appears over his face. Though Kakashi and Kisame don't have any reaction to it, they are already used when I am faking my anger. They have already seen me when I am truly angry. This is nothing in comparison. I get up from my throne and walk towards Jim, who doesn't even dare get up anymore. I can see it in his eyes. His mind is working at insane speeds trying to find a solution on how I won't kill him. He might be the number 2 in power amongst the fishmen, but he too knows the difference between us. I am a league on my own, and only the Yonko or admirals are on my level. In the end, as I am only an arm's length away from him, he answers, Wait, Jaw, if I go to the Marines, I can give you confidential information about them. Even if I enter the Warlord of the Sea program, I will still be part of your crew." As my hand was about to grasp his face, it stopped and I pat Jinbe on the head. "Good, that is good. Except for family, no one knows about Itachi, and I plan to keep it that way." Jinbe's eyes widen in shock as I treat him like a dog. I smile at him maliciously. "Any other answer and you would have died, Jinbe. But remember, I am generous, not someone stupid enough to let you off a second time. If you do that, I will have to hunt you down and kill you. And make an example of you too." Can't have people going around thinking that they can go back on their words when talking to me. It just sends the wrong message. Jinbe just nods at me, not saying anything else. He was humiliated and knows that I will really kill him if he says one more thing or makes a request. Later on, Jinbe goes away after reporting what he would do for the next couple of months after getting the warlord position. As soon as he walks away, Kakashi can't help but ask me, "Father, why did you let someone strong like Jinbe walk away freely and even go help the Marines? That doesn't make sense at all. Can you explain why and how you expect this to work out?" As he says that, he takes out a notebook to take notes of what I will say next. I can't help but smirk a little at that. Though Kakashi is smart and in the future he will most likely be my commander, he is still only 9 years old and my decisions made on the basis of my future knowledge baffle him. Well, they would definitely baffle anyone truly. No matter how smart, no one can determine the absolute true future. Even Haki can only see a future that can easily change. Well, I start explaining to him as Kisame walks away sneakily. He definitely doesn't want to listen to mine and Kakashi's conversation topics. He is the brawn and he is more concentrated on trying to train his observation Haki. Kakashi is way better than him at that. Even I must admit that Kakashi's talent is in observation, and I don't think that he has conqueror's Haki like me and Kisame. Well, he doesn't really have a lot of ambition, and as long as he can protect his family, he is okay with his strength. But at the same time, that is what in a way makes Kakashi stronger than Kisame. Kisame trains hard, but he does so because he wants to be like me and all that. Of course, he too loves his family, but that isn't really his drive for power. And training can get repetitive after a while, and when Kisame reaches around my strength he will start slowing down. Kakashi on the other hand truly understands the power that is needed to protect family, and that power is when the world is under our family's control. That is how his training will never get repetitive. Plus I plan for Kakashi to have a strong devil fruit, one that will push him to admiral level in the future. Even as I contemplate that, I only need a couple of seconds and in the end, explain to Kakashi. The reason I left Jinbe go is because you, Kisame, Escanor, Ichigo, and many others will surpass him in the future. I have 100% confidence in this. You are my children. I then smile as Kakashi. You too should trust family more. You aren't alone in this world. You have a family that will love and support you even if the whole world hates you. I see that Kakashi stops writing on his little notebook there and looks at me with a contemplated look on his face. You think that I will be able to surpass someone like Jinbe, who was a black belt in Fishman karate at the age of 8? Compared to him, I am still only at level 15 in Fishman karate. My smile widens even more as he says that. Who said that you need to surpass him in Fishman karate? I am your father and my job is to give you the opportunity to grow. Yours will be to just give it your best. Ha ha ha, you should trust your father some more, Kakashi. Ha ha ha. Chapter 38, Arlong. It doesn't take long after Jinbe becomes a warlord of the sea, as another problem fishman appears on the underground city below Raijin Island. Jaw! Come out and meet me! Screams Along, but unlike Jinbe, Arlong couldn't even get a meeting. So as he enters the city, a miniature Jaw, Kisame, comes to meet him. Arlong immediately recognizes him. Boy, take me to your father. As he says that, Arlong starts walking forward. Kisame walks in front of him, and even though Arlong is tall and Kisame is only 9 years old, he still reaches up to Arlong's chest and height. Father is currently busy, come back later, or if you have something to say, just say it to me and I will then tell him. TCH, I said, take me to your father. I can't believe that Jaw went and fornicated with a human woman, says Arlong distastefully with an annoyed look on his face. As he hears this, Kisame's eyes are shadowed and he suddenly just tells Arlong, run. Arlong is confused, but Kisame looks at him in the eyes and Arlong can see his bloodshot eyes looking at his own. Insulting my siblings in front of my face, you have balls, that is for sure, says Kisame as a dangerous aura rolls out of him, and even Arlong is scared as he feels like he is in the mouth of a shark. I told you to run. Hope you understand that. Now you must go, run away from here, go away from the Grand Line. You must never again step foot in these seas. As Kisame fishes, saying that, he just turns around, leaving a shocked Arlong behind. Though in momentary shock, he gets out of it and then angrily yells at Kisame. Why you bra dash? Pow! But he can't even finish saying that as Kisame disappears from his vision, and the next thing he feels is an extreme pain on his chest as Kisame lightly slaps his chest, breaking every single rib that he has. Arlong flies back towards the entrance where the rest of Arlong's crew are waiting. Boom! And he crashes in front of them. Arlong is on the ground with a fountain of blood leaking from his mouth, with a handprint scar on his chest. Captain Arlong? Calls out his crew. During this time, Jaw is in his throne room with Kakashi next to his side. They both have their observation haki on full swing as they sense Kisame hit Arlong. Kakashi is again confused by his father's strange actions. He frowns a little as he doesn't even have a clue why his father just let Kisame handle Arlong. He also doesn't like asking his father about the answers always. He will feel dumb if he does that. In the end though, he can't think of anything, and sighs a little as he asks his father. Dad dash. He can't even finish as Jaw answers him. I let him do that because Kisame's observation haki is always irregular, due to him being too easy to anger, especially when someone insults his sibling. I want him to learn control of his emotions, so even when enraged in a battle, he will still be able to use observation haki. Anger will always cloud your judgment, so you must learn to control your anger and not the other way around. Kakashi nods at this again. He puts his head down a little, embarrassed that as he contemplates now. That is a logical reason. The answer wasn't complicated. Also, father was even able to predict what I was gonna ask. Damn, Dad says that one day I will have to take over his strategic and planning duties. But how the hell am I supposed to match someone like Dad, who with his plans, it almost seems like he knows the future? Contemplates Kakashi. As to him, his father is a better combination of him and Kisame, smarter than him and more physically gifted than Kisame. He has heard rumors of just how strong his father was back when he was 9 years old. Father, the only reason I believe that I myself can do it is because you believe in me. 1 month after the Arlong situation, Jaw is training with his children when suddenly, boom! The whole island is rocked around as if an earthquake hit it. What? Even Jaw himself was shocked. No one should know where he lives. Not even the world government knows, or at least they shouldn't know. He looks at his children and tells them, call over everyone, they must get ready for an escape if needed. *T, someone squealed about where this hidden base is. He is a little annoyed at that, but this isn't out of expectations either. He then uses a hidden exit to go to the surface of Raijin Island. Like always, there was thunder falling down like rain, but it doesn't bother Jaw at all as his armament haki is like an invisible armor as the lightning slips off of his body as if a repulsive force pushed it off. Over 20 years of training his haki almost non-stop has made Jaw a master at haki. He can confidently say that no other Yonko can sue haki better than him. Jaw! A loud shout comes out of the clouds. The sound comes down like a storm as it creates a storm. Jaw just looks up and narrows his eyes, and by using his observation haki he can see a general form of the one who just called out to him. As soon as he understands who it is, Jaw frowns and calls out loudly. Oi! Kaido, you wanna die or something? Veins pop on his forehead in anger as he screams back at Kaido. You brat! Who the hell do you think you are? They put you in the same category as us, but brats like you should just know their place. As he shouts that, Kaido's giant dragon head comes out of the clouds and he opens his mouth, gathering heat. Heat breath. Boom! A giant beam of heat comes towards Jaw, who just snorts in annoyance at this. You sure talk a big game for an oversized lizard. He jumps up and he pulls out his sword, a simple-looking katana, and as he does so, all of the sea around the island starts pulsating as giant waves appear all over and his Jaw takes a deep breath. The water is literally flying upward and toward him. Water sword style, water dragon slash. As the heat blast is only an arm's length away from him, Jaw slashes and a giant water dragon appears behind his sword, pushing it forward, and Jaw's armament hockey covers his sword as it turns black. Fwash! Boom! The blast is easily cut in two by Jaw, dispersing it on, and the two weaker halves hit the ocean. Kaido looks at him angrily in his dragon form. You stupid shark, I will kill you. Kaido's conqueror's hockey comes out. Jaw smiles at him maliciously, and he too says, Come try me, you oversized lizard, I will chop you to pieces. Boom! Their conquerors hockey clash, and the clouds on sky are split in two, leaving the body in the middle. And for the first time since its existence, Raijin Island is not raining lightning anymore, as seemingly the heavens themselves made way for Jaw and Kaido. Chapter 39, Kaido vs. Jaws. As Kaido descends down, he spits out fire from his mouth. The flame scorches the ground as it approaches Jaw, who has a serious look on his face, and as soon as the fire starts getting closer, he just takes a deep breath and a huge amount of water heads towards his mouth and it goes into his stomach. He immediately fills up, and his stomach, which is usually fully muscular, now is round like a balloon. Haven slicing wave. Spew. Like a beam of water, it comes out of his mouth as Jaw hits his stomach with a slap. Whoosh! It pierces straight through Kaido's flames, stopping them on their tracks, but the water still goes towards Kaido, who just uses his tail like a wop and swish! POW. The beam of water is dispersed. But what Kaido didn't notice was that Jaw has hidden behind the beam of water, and before he can even react in his giant dragon form. Swish! Water sword style, water surface slash. By using Jeppo, Jaw propulses himself even further and spew. A long but thin cut appears along Kaido's body, as he can't even counter-attack Jaw, who is behind the giant dragon with his eyes fully red and a dangerous aura all over his body. This will be your grave, Kaido, yells Jaw as he prepares to attack Kaido once more. Keep wishing, you brat, yells Kaido back, as he dodges Jaw's attack by breathing fire at him. But the fire is cut in the middle by Jaw, and Kaido is now back to his human form. Jaw's skin dried up a little due to the close proximity with fire, but he used the plentiful water around him to moisturize his skin again and again, and even though Jaw should be at a disadvantage in raw power, the one who is actually taking damage is Kaido. Though the damage seems minimal, soon it will start to add up, and both Kaido and Jaw know that. So Jaw lands on the ground and uses Saru because he can see that Kaido will attack him, so as he sees the future he immediately goes out of the trajectory of the attack. But suddenly Kaido's bat changes direction midair and it comes towards where Jaw is dodging at. But that isn't all, as suddenly lightning gathers around Kaido's club and it actually hits Jaw. Bomb! Though Jaw uses his sword covered in haki to block it, he is pushed backward 5 meters, showing who is the true superior in raw strength, and even though Jaw took no damage, he could feel his arms shake a little due to the crazy amount of power that he had to block. Fuck, that almost numbed my arms just from blocking one attack from him, contemplates Jaw as he thinks of different strategies in his head. He can see that Kaido isn't exactly slow while on the ground. But while Jaw was concentrated on this, his eyes suddenly widened as he saw Bomb will hit him, and just like he predicted, suddenly out of the clouds a pteranodon dinosaur flies around. He has a small fire around him and is wearing a leather outfit. But what worries Jaw is the bomb that he is holding with his feet. He has seen the huge explosion that will happen and he knows that he won't come out of it unscathed. But that split-second distraction and wariness from Jaw is all that Kaido needs, as he attacks Jaw, and even though the latter notices his split-second mistake and can see the future of the next couple of seconds, and his arm covered in haki comes up to protect his face. Raime hack. Kaido's spiked club descends on Jaw and bam! Crack! Jaw's arm is shattered and bent on uncordial angles as his body flies off. Boom! And he crashes into a mountain, and at that time a bomb drops in front of him. Boom! The explosion and heat swallows his body. Kaido frowns as he sees this, and he looks up at King flying around again. Oi! King, why did you do that? I was gonna win that fight. King floats down on the ground and looks at Kaido. Sorry, Kaido-sama. I just did what I presumed to be right at that moment. Kaido frowns at that, but in the end, he settles down. Don't do that again. As Kaido says that he still walks towards where Jaw is, he knows that he didn't win this fight fairly. But they are pirates, so fighting unfair is the rule pretty much. If you are fighting fair and equally, then you are just playing around like a wannabe pirate. Though Kaido doesn't like it, this is the same way it ended with Odin, so it brings an unsatisfied feeling within his stomach. But he is a pirate and won't let the chance of killing someone like Jaw go away. He just saw that the brat did actually earn his title as an Emperor of the Sea. He most likely won't get another chance like this. But as he gets close to the place where Jaw's unconscious body is supposed to be, he is a little surprised when he sees that Jaw was covered not in wounds but in a dark metallic color all around his body. His arm had also been set straight in place and it had a shirt tied around it to keep it in place. Though he will unlikely be able to use the arm for the remainder of the fight, at least it won't be a bother or restrict him during it. Jaw smiles at Kaido, showing his shark-like teeth, and pits the sword in his hand at Kaido while saying, "Yo! Ready for round 2, or maybe you need your little pet chicken to help you. Don't worry, I will only use one arm to fight you." Jaw immediately gets on Kaido's nerves again. Die JAW. As he yells out that, Kaido charges at Jaw, who just has a peaceful smile on his face, and he closes his eyes. Fwash! Kaido tries to hit him again, but Jaw easily dodges again and again. I will never be distracted and make the same mistake again. Contemplates Jaw as he dodges another one of Kaido's hits and spit. He spits his blood on Kaido's face, obscuring his vision, and then fwash! A cut appears again on Kaido's body, from hip up to collarbone. Using his mastery over armament hockey, Jaws can easily cut into Kaido's monstrous body. 8 hours pass over their exchanges and Kaido is now back into his dragon form. He has countless injuries all over his body, but he is flying around and fighting Jaw, who is using Jeppo to maneuver midair and fight against Kaido, who keeps spewing flames at him while at the same time trying to dodge Jaw's attacks. Mountain tops had been cut off and the land was scorched. But their battle rained on, because while the island couldn't handle their strength, and if it had any surface life before, now it is undoubtedly dead by now. Chapter 40, Finished Battle. After many hours of battling, both Kaido and Jaw had countless injuries on their bodies. Kaido has bled a pool of his body and Jaw has been using the ocean around him to his advantage and has flooded most of Raijin Island. This has put him in an advantage. But at the same time, Jaw, except his crushed arm, his ribs had all cracked too, and he also had some burns on his left side. But at this time Jaw wasn't worried at all. He could escape whenever he wanted. His children had all escaped by now and everyone had evacuated. Kaido, while covered in his own blood in his dragon form, shoots another breath blast at Jaw, who winced a little as he cuts it again. Though it seems like Jaw is winning, he knows that in the end, he will lose to Kaido. He can only fight for another day and a half, then he will fall. But for Kaido that is a whole other deal. The man's wounds stop bleeding not even half an hour after they are put. He can also easily move even with those massive injuries on him. He can outlast me. Contemplates Jaw, as his wounds keep adding up and his arm has gotten tired too from cutting hundreds of Kaido's heat breath blasts. King had also not interfered in the fight, but that isn't a guarantee that he won't interfere as the battle goes on. If he does so, Jaw knows that losing then is inevitable. Kaido's endurance is monstrously high, and while Jaw could continue fighting for another 36 hours, Kaido will be able to fight at his full power for the next 10 days. This is the difference between them. Their endurance is on completely different levels, and Jaw knows that the best he can pull right now is a draw with Kaido. Fwish! Another cut appears on Kaido's giant dragon body. Jaw, on the other hand, winces a little as fire licks his skin, drying it up. Also, he notices that even though he is using hockey, due to the extreme heat in the surroundings and then the cold water from the ocean, sooner or later his sword might actually break. The only reason it resisted till now was due to Jaw's armament hockey fully protecting it. Another 2 hours pass, making it 20 hours since the fighting has started. Kaido now has one of his eyes sealed shut as blood keeps coming out of it. Jaw, on the other hand, is breathing heavily and blood is coming out of his legs due to having to use extremely powerful Jeppo to dodge some of Kaido's extremely long-range attacks. Fwash! King suddenly descends and attempts to kick Jaw, but the latter's eyes shine red for a split second. Having seen the future, Jaw easily dodges the attack and swish! Slashes towards King, but the latter uses his wings to maneuver himself out of the sword wave attack. Kaido takes this chance to spit out some fire at Jaw, and he can't dodge, so he tanks it. Boom! Jaw crashes on the ocean water. Water Dragon. A dragon, looking just like Kaido but made out of water, comes out of the sea and attacks him. Of course, Kaido uses another, heat breath, to obliterate the dragon. Jaw, while underwater, winces at this and contemplates actually running away immediately. He can see that his chances of defeating Kaido today are almost zero. But suddenly, boom! A giant explosion rockets the island. Jaw looks around unsure of what is happening, but then he sees something that brings a smile to his face. Jaw POV. What I see is the lower part of some ships, and by the colors, I can definitely tell that it is the Marines. There are around 30 Marine warships. They are shooting cannons at Kaido's giant body, who has now become a target. Well, I guess they couldn't allow us to kill each other. If either I or Kido won, then we would actually start being dangerous. If I took over Wano, or Kaido took over Fishman Island and got the resources at the bottom of the sea, yeah, not favorable to them at all. So they plan for the war between me and Kaido to continue then. I just swim deeper and deeper undersea. I guess it's time to go now. Fwash! I can see the water start freezing up, but it can't catch up to me as I go deeper and deeper underwater. Welp, this is a draw on my book. Anyway, I will have to find a new base in the new world. One day later, in East Blue, there are newspapers all around being spread by the world government for free. Itachi is fighting against his clones when a newspaper falls in front of him. He looks at the news crew, who just winks at him. He narrows his eyes at the bird. He knows that this is the bird who usually brings the newspaper to him at Makino's bar. Itachi usually feeds it some food when it brings the newspaper, so the strangely intelligent bird is found at Itachi, and it even lets him read the newspaper for free. Of course, after reading it he will have to put it back, so the bird can just go and sell it to someone else. Itachi reads the paper and his eyes widen as he sees the headline. Big news, Yonko, Jaws and Kaido declare war against each other. What? Immediately Itachi dispels his clone and runs back to Makino's bar at his top speed. He didn't even notice as each of his steps was cracking the ground beneath him. Due to his feelings of distress and worry, he had subconsciously used a bastardized version of Soru. As he enters the bar, Makino smiles at him and says, "Hey Itachi." But Itachi doesn't even hear or care about her anymore as he goes to his room and pulls out his hidden visual transponder snail. He immediately dials the long memorized number. Peru 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 Peru. The transponder snail is calling, and with each ring, Itachi's heart gets heavier and heavier. Kacha. His transponder snail is answered, and the image of his father covered in some bandages appears on the projection. Immediately his knees buckle and tears of happiness come out of his eyes. Thank God. Jaw then asks, "Why did you suddenly call Itachi?" Itachi starts explaining the situation to his father and keeps nothing hidden and tells even his deeper fears of how they might have died and such. Jaw just looks at him strangely. What? You thought I could have lost to Kaido? Nah, you don't have to worry about me. Also, is Garp still there? Yes, nods Itachi, and Jaw immediately frowns at that. Remember what I told you, Itachi, if you are careless like this I will pull you back. Don't endanger yourself like a fool, do this one more time and I will pull you back home. Caching. Jaw then closes from the other side. Garp POV. I look at Luffy as he yells at me. No! Me and Ace are gonna be pirates. Sabo will be one too. Ace just drops his head on the ground. Luffy, just shut the hell up. He has been beating up for 2 hours straight, you dumbass. Just shut that loud mouth of yours. Why can't you two be more like Itachi? He is such a good kid and he is stronger than you. It's all because he has the sense of justice of a Marine. I tell them, trying to convince Luffy, by telling him that Itachi is stronger than him and giving the reason that is because he wants to become a Marine. Chapter 41, Poseidon. After teaching my grandson about life and using hockey to make the hits hurt, I just turn back and start walking towards Mikonos. Why can't they be like Itachi? He wants to be a Marine and he is even a kind kid who uses his devil fruit for cleaning and other such menial tasks. For someone like him who was born and abandoned in Great Terminal to have such a good heart is very rare. He is even a good cook, and when he thinks that Makino or I am not noticing anything, he uses his wage that Makino pays him to buy ingredients and cook for the poor. He is well liked even in a place like Great Terminal where most of them are hives and criminals. They like him too. Itachi might be the only person in this kingdom and walk amongst there and not even be robbed once and no one insults him. His fruit might seem weak and even he hasn't noticed its power. He got lucky getting a fruit like that. He will never be a numerical disadvantage, and if he can get his clones to be as strong as himself, then I can confidently say that his power will not be any lower than the top of this world. He just needs to become a vice admiral strength-wise and he will be set. Itachi also won't be your average vice admiral, just with his current physical strength, and he could destroy most of the East Blue pirates with no difficulty at all. Thankfully he seems to want to be a Marine, or he would have made quite a strong pirate otherwise. As I arrive at Makino's bar, I see that like usual Itachi's clones are helping around, and one of the clones looks at Garp and says, "Oh, old man, you are here. The original Itachi seems to be having a problem in his room and wanted to ask you something." "I am here," says Itachi as he walks down the stairs and his legs are shaking a little. I tried kicking the ground multiple times and see if I could move faster that way. Yeah, it didn't go that well. While I did move quickly, I did so for a couple of minutes and now my muscles have spasmed. Seems like I won't be able to do squats for a couple of days while they heal. But I will train my upper body like always. Actually, I will train more to make up for the lost time. Gah! I laugh at this. You tried to use Sora, didn't you? He most likely saw me use it and tried to copy it. But trying to use Sora isn't something that easy. But he was able to use it a couple of dozen times before his legs started hurting. Then that is just more proof of his physical strength. I can confidently say that not even new talented Marine recruits will be as strong as Itachi. Zed can say whatever he wants, but I doubt that even he won't be surprised when I send Itachi to him to train. So that is what the technique is called, huh? Then after healing I will try using it again, says Itachi with a determined look on his face. This is why I am sure that one day he will become an admiral. Not only is it his natural strength, but also willpower. I bet that he will earn hockey like fish swimming in the sea. Kisame POV. It takes 2 months for Dad to get everything together and create a new base. This time he created a whole new base. It is a new undeveloped and deserted island. The name is York New Island. Dad even got some scientists from Karakuri Island, the place where it is said to be Vegapunk's hometown. Anyway, as I walk among Fishman Island I have a takoyaki in my hand and I am eating it. Dad told me that Fishman Island will be under my protection once I grow strong enough, but first I must earn the people's trust as he did. The earning trust part is done by protecting them or helping them. I also have Makoto and Kakashi on the island, and since now we are all 10 years old, Dad has started introducing us to the world. I have a 10 million B bounty just by being associated with Dad and being his son. The other siblings haven't been introduced at all. Dad plans to keep them hidden by just showing me in the front and letting my other siblings grow a little more before making their existence public. Also recently some Doflaming guy became a warlord of the sea, and as York New is an island close to Dressrosa, Dad took quite a lot of precautions. Especially since Doflamingo is associated with Kaido, and Dad and Kaido fight like 3 times a month, and even though they all end in a draw they do gain advantages fighting against each other. Kaido now has quite a few scars from Dad, and Dad also has a burn scar on his palm when he fought against Kaido once. I can't wait till I am strong enough and then me and Dad can go and kill that giant lizard. I should go to Ruzakana Island, the place where the animals are super strong and not a lot of pirates can even hold their own against the animals in there. As I walk along, I see that Queen Otoheim is holding another one of her rallies. Whoa, she has her daughter with her too, and the daughter seems around 6 years old, but she is so big. How did she even birth such a giant child? I should ask Dad. He explained to me how babies are made, but how could Otoheim even hold such a giant baby inside of her? Dad is bound to know stuff like this. Dad knows everything. Anyway, she did get permission from Dad to do this, so I don't need to interrupt her or anything like that. I will just listen to her, as it doesn't matter and I don't have anything better to do currently. Pow! Suddenly something beyond surprising happened. Someone just shot the queen in the chest. Welp, she is dead, but even as that happens my eyes are somewhere else. I can feel something strange from the 6-year-old princess. I see her brothers dance around her with tears in their eyes. Their mother just died, but why are they dancing? They are sad as they are crying, but why are they doing that? I look at the pink-haired giant mermaid kid and I see that they are actually trying to keep her from crying. Suddenly I see that a shadow descends all over Fishman Island and I look up. As I do so, my eyes widen in a feeling that I haven't felt in a long time, fear. Giant sea kings, at the sizes that can only be found on the calm belt, are looking down on me. They are so big that if one of them actually hit Fishman Island, that would actually destroy it. What the hell is going on? Chapter 42, Blood is Thicker Than Water. Kisame POV. Seeing this power, I can't help but contemplate something. How is such a thing possible, as I have already figured out what is going on? The little girl can call over the Sea Kings. Father must learn of this immediately. He will know what to do with this information. As I decide on this, I slip out of the crowd. No one notices me as I walk away. The royal family's death is irrelevant to Dad and he wouldn't even care. But the little princess can control Sea Kings. I can't help it as a smile descends upon my face. Ah, if our family had that power. No. My family will have that power. No one else deserves a power like that. We could destroy any of the Yonko's territories if we have that power. We could drown them together with the entire world if we wanted. Now I just need Dad to decide what we should do. He will know the perfect outcome for this. He will probably also use this time to teach Kakashi some life lessons and how to manage the army and why he does what he does. That is why I have never even been jealous of Kakashi's intelligence. Kakashi spends hours upon hours listening to Dad about overly complicated things that I can never, almost no one can understand. Kakashi likes that stuff. He is such a nerd. He even calls sh*t that I don't understand basic. It doesn't take long for me to arrive at the destination where I, Kakashi, and Mikoto are staying. It's called Shirley's Mermaid Cafe. We have a free room for us. We can stay in there as long as we want. The owner is an old friend of Dad's. She and Dad know each other for a long time. The cafe is a very colorful place, I can say that much, and the place is popular. As I enter inside, I just see that Shirley seems to go somewhere. She looks at me and has a weird look on her face. Shirley is a large mermaid with purple nail polish, red lipstick, and blue eyes with slanted pupils that resemble shark eyes. She also has a child wrapped in cloths on her arms. That is her daughter. Her name is Ariel and she is only a 1-year-old. Mikoto loves playing with her. Mikoto has always with children, especially because she is everyone's older sister. Well, only I and Itachi are older than her amongst the siblings. Still though, as she looks at me, Shirley just says, "I got some news. I have to go to the royal palace." I nod at that. I know that Dad must learn about this, but my eyes land on the child she is holding. Ariel, or more correctly, if Kakashi's suspicions are correct, one of our younger siblings. The news can wait. I must protect my siblings. I will escort you to the royal palace, I say to her, and she nods. She knows that I am strong, and with me as her escort, she will be safe, no matter who dares to attack her on Fishman Island. As we walk outside of the cafe, I also walk next to her. Shirley still just looks at me as we walk along the road and get into one of the flying giant fish to travel. Your resemblance to your father is impeccable. If you were a little taller and had some muscles to you, you would look just like him, she says to me in the end, with a smile on her face. I am a little happy when she says that. I truly wish that one day I can be like Dad, except for the harem thing. I believe that only one woman should be inside a man's heart. I don't think I can or will ever be able to love more than a woman in my life. I am not as skilled as Dad, and I have seen how much goes on behind the scenes and how the harem members try to fight for father's attention. They once even put the siblings against each other. Dad thankfully put a quick stop to that before it could go on anymore. General POV. In the end, the check was for Shirley to see the future or what could happen to the royal family and could handle future problems better. Kisame just was holding the baby Ariel in his arms as Ariel grabs his finger and laughs. Who is cute? Yes, you are, Ariel cues Kisame as he tries to keep Ariel occupied. Though he usually takes care of his brothers to entertain them, he usually just does so by crushing a boulder with his fists or something like that. But at the same time, he has seen Makoto do this for quite some time, so he too knows how to handle sisters too. At the same time, Shirley uses her crystal ball to predict the future. The child will have to spend her time in a secure room as soon Vendor Deckkin will propose to her and then attack her. As she tells King Neptune of the future, the king cringes at this, but Shirley doesn't stop there as bad news pile on top of one and another. The king nods and goes to try and stop some things from happening. As she looks around and sees Ariel and Kisame playing with each other. The usually very simple-minded, violent, and forceful Kisame playing with Ariel so gently, without showing any of his usual pride/arrogance in his power. Shirley doesn't know how to feel about that either. She can see that blood truly speaks for itself. Though she can't bring to even like any of Jaw's other children when it comes to Kisame, that is different. She simply imagines/lies to herself that he is the child between her and Jaw. It is her own little fantasy world that she has on her mind, though sadly she knows that is unlikely to happen. She has seen Jaw's future, and it definitely isn't a place where she wants her little child to grow into. I guess that even without telling them anything, they will instinctively know that they are siblings. Blood will draw them to be together no matter what. Thinks Shirley with a little sadness. She knows that no matter what she does or how she acts, she won't be able to stop her daughter from joining her siblings in the future. She has seen that, but she still holds hope that at least this one of her predictions is wrong. That family will bring the whole world to ruin. Jaw POV. I can't help but smile at the latest news from Fishman Island. I am currently lying on my bed with 2 mermaids and a human woman who are breathing heavily and are currently resting. It seems like I must try and get my hands on Poseidon soon. That will be the best advantage that I could currently get. I am not exactly sure where the other ancient weapons even are, but that doesn't mean that I can't prepare myself for the inevitable future war. The war that will engulf the whole world. I want to thrive in it. Chapter 43, Mark Fruit. A couple of days after the death of the Queen Otoheim, Neptune had to make a hard decision and truly had to lock his daughter in a tower. Vander Deckkin could somehow throw letters with marriage proposals, which weren't answered at all by the royal family. Due to that, Vander Deckkin started delivering gifts, and after it, he started sending weapons that would crash into the tower. If Neptune didn't get that warning from Shirley, he would have his daughter grievously injured or possibly dead. Neptune is currently in his room. He has his arms folded, his face is morphed into a grimace. He has been contemplating something about the decision that he should be making soon. The Tomoko box has been stolen with the energy pills inside too. So as a king he has to make the right decisions and come to the best conclusions for his people. But at the same time, he is a father too, and calling in that man to interfere with the Fishman royal family, then he won't be able to get him out of the royal family ever again. In the end, Neptune can only sigh as he comes to his conclusion. It is nothing about him holding power or anything like that, it's just that giving power to someone like Jaw isn't the best option for the Fishman and human race. Jaw will just have his armies be made in Fishman Island and use them to fight the Yonko of his own accord. But at the same time, having someone steal from the tomato box and the many problems that he has had as of late, on top of his wife's death. He isn't sure that he can handle everything by himself. So in the end I must call him. Contemplates Neptune. Jaw hasn't ever really done anything to directly harm the royal family, nor Fishman Island. What Neptune is scared about is the comeback that the world government will have from this collaboration. It will make Fishman Island even more unlikely to ever take part in the reverie and join the humans in a coexisting relationship. After many hours of contemplating his decision, Neptune in the end decided to call for Jaw. He picks up his dindinmashi and dials up the number. Purupurupuru. Ching. Hello, Neptune, what is the reason for your call? Says Jaw from the other side of the transporter snail. Neptune has a calm look on his face as he announces his reason for calling. I require your help. As soon as he says that, on the other side of the transponder snail a wide smile appears on Jaw's face. Well, what is the situation that you need my help with? Neptune explains everything that happened and how it happened, and how the Tamako box was stolen with the energy steroids it had inside of it. Also, he tells Jaw about the situation with his daughter and Vanderdecken. As he finishes his explanation, a deathly silence settles upon the room and the transponder snail's smile widens. Leave everything to me, Neptune, says Jaw as he closes the transponder snail. Catch-jaw. 2 days later on Fishman Island, and many people see thousands of Fishman warriors surround the island. They all had a shark jaw with crossbones and an article of their clothing, representing that they are all part of the Jaw Pirates. Immediately spread around the island looking for certain people. Jaw POV. Since I arrived in Fishman Island 12 hours pass and my men bring a person who is tied up in sea stone chains around him. The man is a tall individual with beige-colored skin, slim build, and lanky limbs. His most distinguishing feature is his 4 legs. He has a short, scraggly goatee, a long, wavy mustache with spiky edges, and similarly, long, wavy and spiky black hair. He is Vanderdecken, the old man who has been harassing Shirahoshi. He is like a 25-year-old man going after a 6-year-old girl. I just see that he is bloodied up too. I know a lot about him not only from the manga but also from the investigation I ran on him due to his devil fruit. I am in the royal palace sitting in the chair of the king, Neptune. He knows what will happen if he gives me his hand. I will take his whole arm. We are also family now. Kisame now got himself a cute wife in the future. The marriage between Shirahoshi and Kisame is now set in stone, and the Jaw Pirates will help the royal family with all of their problems too. But as I look at Vanderdecken in front of me, he looks at me with a terrified look on his face. Jaw-sama, whatever news you got about me is a lie. I never even dared to think of the royal princess in that way. I swear to God. He begs as I just lean my head on my hand. He is so pathetic. Can't he at least offer something better? And even if he did nothing, if I want to kill him then I will. There is no need for a reason to crush a bug, I just do. I obviously will never kill needlessly if it doesn't offer me some benefits. In the end, I just call over Kisame who is at my side. Go and get the sack of fruits. He nods at that and goes away. I see as he does so only Kakashi and Makoto are next to me now. I just look at Decken and ask, what is your devil fruit and how it works? Maybe if you are useful enough I will let you live. Decken smiles at this with a hopeful look on his eyes. The fool doesn't understand that I have no plan of letting him walk away alive from this room. Later Kisame comes into the room with a sack full fruits and drops at my feet. As he does so, I just get up and pat him on his head and ruffle his hair slightly. You did well. He nods at N. Fwash! Before anyone can react, I sink my fingers into Decken's neck and rip his head off. Fwash! In the blink of an eye, I am back sitting on my throne. With Decken's head with wide eyes still wide in shock. I just throw away the head and look at the sack of fruits as one of them, a pear, slowly turns yellow and strange markings appear all around it. I look at Makoto and tell her, this is the mark fruit. In a way it will make you the best ranged fighter. Even if a person is on the other side of the world, you can use this to send them messages or throw weapons at them. Makoto nods and without hesitation, she goes and opens her mouth. Gulp! She swallows the fruit whole. Immediately her face becomes green and she looks at me. Dad, that is so gross. I smile at that, and tell her. Come on now Makoto, You worried me for a second there. Tell me now, do you know how to use it? She shrugs at and unsuredly at this. She just picks up a small stone from the ground. She then gets close to Kisame and touches his face. She turns on the opposite side and throws the small pebble on the opposite side of Kisame. The rock just flies forward and then it turns around and it hits Kisame slightly on the head. As this happens, a huge smile appears in her face. Wow, this is amazing. I smile at that. This fruit's potential is terrifying, and if Makoto can somehow awaken it, well then. Chapter 44, What the hell is wrong with this family? 2 years pass since that incident with Shirahoshi and Vanderdecken. Except for the fights between Kaido and Jaw, everything has been quiet all over the world. Also, there was some war Kurigana Island which turned the human drill apes in there into violent creatures. But the war was something insignificant in the overall world. The fights between Kaido and Jaw are also coming to an end. The two who used to fight every month at a minimum now rarely fight, and the last time they fought was 6 months ago. The world took this as Kaido grudgingly acknowledging Jaw as his equal and part of the Yonko. Also, Jaw's bounty has raised exponentially during these 2 years, and it's a whopping 4 billion beta. His territories have grown too, and it is bigger than Big Mom's, and it's comparable to Whitebeard. Plus his secret deals with many countries even outside of the Grand Line have made him a danger to the world government that his threat is bigger than most other Yonko. But at the same time, it isn't like he isn't also supplying the world government with weapons too. Anyway, currently as his power has settled down in York New Island, where Jaw's main base is. This is a futuristic island, and its leader, Jaw, is in his throne room which is inside one of the tallest skyscrapers on the island. He had hired many people from Vegapunk's hometown. Of course, the world government has noticed this, but as Jaw is their main source of supplying weapons and materials, they let him do it, and even if they made a fuss about it, they knew that in no way would Jaw listen to them. At the end of the day, he is a pirate and his deal with the world government is mutually beneficial and nothing more. He will still be hunted down by the Marines and captured, and Jaw will at the same time destroy any world government or Marine vessels that he likes. Me supplying them with weapons is no big deal, they would get them from somewhere else even if they didn't get it from me. Plus they pay the best prices when it comes to money, they are some rich bastards. By rich he means the different resources that they exchange. From different sea stone weapons, devil fruits, rare swords, technological advancements, and even the secrets on how to fuse a devil fruit with a weapon. He looks at the katana stabbed in the ground next to his throne. It had eccentric lighting symbols and it sometimes even seemed to release electricity. This is his new weapon, Raijin, the sword infused with the paramecia-type zap fruit. This sword has brought his swordsmanship to a whole new level, and no longer does he only make thin cuts among Kaido's body. The cuts are now lethal in power, and he can even kill Kaido now with this sword of his. That is why Kaido stopped fighting him now, because there is actually a true chance of him dying against Jaw now. Kaido has countless scars along his body as a result of his fights against Jaw, and even when someone sees the injury made on him by Odin, most people would assume that it was during one of his battles against Jaw. As Jaw is contemplating his future actions and the routes to the power that he will need to guide his children towards, the door to his throne room is opened and a young slim pretty woman with strawberry blonde hair that goes to about her shoulders, and she had blue eyes. Jaw has an amused look in his eyes as she enters. In her hand, she also has a light blue transponder snail with a white beard. One of your transponder snails is ringing, and it seems to be from one of the bases in Sky Island. I didn't know we even had one in a Sky Island, says the blonde woman as she comes closer and hands over to Jaw the transponder snail. Jaw takes it, and Jaw still has an amused look on his face. As always, Khalifa, you do an excellent job as a secretary. Khalifa pushes up her glasses and says, "That's sexual harassment." Jaw laughs at this good-heartedly. As always, Khalifa, when you are free we could and grab some dinner together. Khalifa just blushes a little at that. I am always busy, and going to dinner with you is sexual harassment. She walks off with a soft smile on her face even as she says stuff like that. Jaw just smiles at that. He knows that she is a spy for the world government, but he still keeps her around. Better have a spy that he knows about that one he doesn't know. Caching. Jaw opens the transponder snail and says, "Gunfall, how is it going, old friend?" On the other side, the old man has a panicked look on his face as he says, "Jaw, Skype needs your help." Jaw's smile widens when he hears that. This is the call that he has been waiting for quite a while. "Tell me the situation, as I will be there as soon as I can." At this time, in Fishman Island, Jinbi was fighting against a Jaw look-alike. Though the young man was only 12 years old, he was 6 feet 5 inches meters tall, and Jaw was 3 meters, 9 feet 8 inches tall. Jinbi was having some difficulty against Kisame. The young kid not only looked like his father, he even had the same power his father had at that age. 5,000 tile true punch. Jinbi punches Kisame in the stomach, which makes the latter spit out a glob of blood, but he doesn't move and grabs Jinbi's wrist. He leans his hand backward and BOMB! Punches Jinbi in the head, making him spit out blood. Jinbi can feel himself almost pass out due to that powerful hit. Kisame's monstrous raw strength that without even using Fishman karate he could make such powerful hits. What the hell is wrong with that family? Thinks Jinbi. Kisame has been challenging him every day for the last 6 months. In the beginning, he could defeat Kisame easily, but as time went along he wasn't able to keep up with the kid. *T. I might actually lose today against a 12-years-old kid. 2,000 tile puck. Kisame's punch connects with Jinbi's palm as his other hand is being held by Kisame in a tight steel-like grip, not letting go at all. Damn, this kid is monstrous, just like his father. At the same time in East Blue in Fusha village, a marine ship with a dog head lands in the port. This is Garp's ship and the old man screams out loud. Itachi time to join the Marines. Every one of Garp's subordinates covers their ears as Garp's scream is too loud. And at the same time, another, quieter, scream comes from the village. Oi! Old man, you just woke up everybody in the village with that scream. I apologize to them about that. Yells Garp out loud again. It's all Itachi's fault, you can blame him. While this happened, back again in Fishman Island the fight between Kisame and Jinbi had finished, and Jinbi was lying on the ground unconscious with blood around his head. Kisame too had blood coming out of his head, but he still had a victorious smile on his face. Chapter 44, What the hell is wrong with this family? 2 years pass since that incident with Shirahoshi and Vanderdecken. Except for the fights between Kaido and Jaw, everything has been quiet all over the world. Also, there was some war Kurigana Island which turned the human drill apes in there into violent creatures. But the war was something insignificant in the overall world. The fights between Kaido and Jaw are also coming to an end. The two who used to fight every month at a minimum now rarely fight, and the last time they fought was 6 months ago. The world took this as Kaido grudgingly acknowledging Jaw as his equal and part of the Yonko. Also, Jaw's bounty has raised exponentially during these 2 years, and it's a whopping 4 billion beta. His territories have grown too, and it is bigger than Big Mom's, and it's comparable to Whitebeard. Plus his secret deals with many countries even outside of the Grand Line have made him a danger to the world government that his threat is bigger than most other Yonko. But at the same time, it isn't like he isn't also supplying the world government with weapons too. Anyway, currently as his power has settled down in York New Island, where Jaw's main base is. This is a futuristic island, and its leader, Jaw, is in his throne room which is inside one of the tallest skyscrapers on the island. He had hired many people from Vegapunk's hometown. Of course, the world government has noticed this, but as Jaw is their main source of supplying weapons and materials, they let him do it, and even if they made a fuss about it they knew that in no way would Jaw listen to them. At the end of the day, he is a pirate and his deal with the world government is mutually beneficial and nothing more. He will still be hunted down by the Marines and captured, and Jaw will at the same time destroy any world government or Marine vessels that he likes. Me supplying them with weapons is no big deal, they would get them from somewhere else even if they didn't get it from me. Plus they pay the best prices when it comes to money. They are some rich bastards. By rich he means the different resources that they exchange. From different sea stone weapons, devil fruits, rare swords, technological advancements, and even the secrets on how to fuse a devil fruit with a weapon. He looks at the katana stabbed in the ground next to his throne. It had eccentric lighting symbols and it sometimes even seemed to release electricity. This is his new weapon, Raijin, the sword infused with the paramecia-type zap-zap fruit. This sword has brought his swordsmanship to a whole new level, and no longer does he only make thin cuts among Kaido's body. The cuts are now lethal in power, and he can even kill Kaido now with this sword of his. That is why Kaido stopped fighting him now, because there is actually a true chance of him dying against Jaw now. Kaido has countless scars along his body as a result of his fights against Jaw, and even when someone sees the injury made on him by Odin, most people would assume that it was during one of his battles against Jaw. As Jaw is contemplating his future actions and the routes to the power that he will need to guide his children towards, the door to his throne room is opened and a young slim pretty woman with strawberry blonde hair that goes to about her shoulders, and she had blue eyes. Jaw has an amused look in his eyes as she enters. In her hand, she also has a light blue transponder snail with a white beard. One of your transponder snails is ringing, and it seems to be from one of the bases in Sky Island. I didn't know we even had one in a Sky Island, says the blonde woman as she comes closer and hands over to Jaw the transponder snail. Jaw takes it, and Jaw still has an amused look on his face. As always, Khalifa, you do an excellent job as a secretary. Khalifa pushes up her glasses and says, "That's sexual harassment." Jaw laughs at this good-heartedly. As always, Khalifa, when you are free we could and grab some dinner together. Khalifa just blushes a little at that. I am always busy, and going to dinner with you is sexual harassment. She walks off with a soft smile on her face even as she says stuff like that. Jaw just smiles at that. He knows that she is a spy for the world government, but he still keeps her around. Better have a spy that he knows about that one he doesn't know. Caching. Jaw opens the transponder snail and says, "Gone Fall, how is it going, old friend?" On the other side, the old man has a panicked look on his face as he says, "Jaw, Skype needs your help." Jaw's smile widens when he hears that. This is the call that he has been waiting for quite a while. Tell me the situation, as I will be there as soon as I can. At this time, in Fishman Island, Jinbe was fighting against a Jaw look-alike. Though the young man was only 12 years old, he was 6 feet 5 inches meters tall, and Jaw was 3 meters, 9 feet 8 inches tall. Jinbe was having some difficulty against Kisame. The young kid not only looked like his father, he even had the same power his father had at that age. 5,000 tile true punch. Jinbe punches Kisame in the stomach, which makes the latter spit out a glob of blood, but he doesn't move and grabs Jinbe's wrist. He leans his hand backward and BOMB! Punches Jinbe in the head, making him spit out blood. Jinbe can feel himself almost pass out due to that powerful hit. Kisame's monstrous raw strength that without even using Fishman karate he could make such powerful hits. What the hell is wrong with that family? Thinks Jinbe, Kisame has been challenging him every day for the last 6 months. In the beginning, he could defeat Kisame easily, but as time went along he wasn't able to keep up with the kid. *T. I might actually lose today against a 12-years-old kid. 2,000 tile puck. Kisame's punch connects with Jinbe's palm as his other hand is being held by Kisame in a tight steel-like grip, not letting go at all. Damn, this kid is monstrous, just like his father. At the same time, in East Blue in Fusha Village, a marine ship with a dog head lands in the port. This is Garp's ship, and the old man screams out loud. Itachi time to join the Marines. Every one of Garp's subordinates covers their ears as Garp's scream is too loud. And at the same time, another, quieter, scream comes from the village. Oi! Old man, you just woke up everybody in the village with that scream. I apologize to them about that. Yells Garp out loud again. It's all Itachi's fault. you can blame him. While this happened, back again in Fishman Island the fight between Kisame and Jinbe had finished, and Jinbe was lying on the ground unconscious with blood around his head. Kisame too had blood coming out of his head, but he still had a victorious smile on his face. Chapter 45, Goro Goro no Mi. I am currently getting ready on one of my ships on the futuristic Port York New Island. Enel has finally appeared on Sky Island, so this is my chance to get his fruit. But at the same time, I must be careful and can't have him escape me. If he somehow decides to escape, I can't exactly stop him. He does travel at the speed of lightning after all. I am simply not that fast, and even with my future vision, though I can stop his attacks, I can't just chase him at his speed. As I get on the ship, I see Kakashi, Mikoto, Escanor, and Ichigo waiting for me. I just smile at them. Ready? They nod. They are all 12 years old, but their size looks more like an older teen due to the training they have gone through. Their muscles have tightened, just like Kobe's did after his marine training. This is the kind of law of this world, just like a shadow is a second soul and such. As we are about to set sail, I hear someone call out, "Oi! Dad, wait up!" I just look at where the voice is coming and see that it is Kisame covered in bandages. Did he fight with Jinbe again? He has been doing that a lot lately. He wants that second strongest fishman so much, saying things that as my son, if he is anything lower than second, then he isn't worth being my son. He is sometimes nice like that. That is why he is one of my favorite kids, and I have hundreds of them. Still, I can't be too soft on him. He has been spending this last year just fighting Jinbe. I don't want him to waste his time on things like that. He will need to train a couple more months with me personally before he can defeat Jinbe. So did you defeat Jinbe yet? I ask him as Kisame uses Jeppo to get into the ship. He smiles at that and says, "Hell yeah, I just did." I am a little surprised at that. But I guess Kisame's hockey and physical strength must have grown faster as he fought against Jinbe. I need to stop him from becoming too arrogant. That is good, but you are still nowhere near strong enough to be my second in command. As I tell him that, I remind him that literally every other second in command from the other Yonko would wreck him, and he is 12-year-old, so expecting him to take on Yonko commanders at that age is unreasonable. But he is my son, he will be able to overcome this, and there will be no place for arrogance anymore, as the sibling of his who will eat the rumble rumble fruit will surpass him in strength. I look at Kakashi as I think of that. He will be perfect for the fruit. He is smart, and with the combination with his fruit he will definitely easily surpass Kisame by quite a major gap. Kisame just immediately starts doing push-ups as I say that he isn't strong enough. So his simple mindset becomes his weapon as he hits his problem head-on by training more. I smile at that as I gaze with a side glance at Kakashi when he sees his brother training. He closes a book that he is reading and he goes back inside the ship. I know that he is going to train 10x harder now, as lately he hasn't even been able to put up a fight against Kisame. Their sibling rivalry is beautiful. Kakashi is a diamond and Kisame is an emerald, and my duty as their father, it is my responsibility to bring out their full potential. As we set sail, Makoto brings out an intelligent bird and tells it to fly in a certain direction. There are a lot of species like that in this world. This is a white dove as it flies, and Makoto then crouches down, closing her eyes as she touches the ship. Fwash! Slowly the ship starts floating and it flies off after the bird at a sustainable speed. We fly above the clouds, and I smile at that as I see all of this. Makoto has gotten good at using her fruit, and she is now technically targeting the bird who is flying. But she has decided the speed at which she is targeting, so actually we are more like floating now. I see that Makoto is concentrating to hold this. We should arrive in Skype in a couple of days. She will have to push herself a little, but I know that she can do it. Even if she can't, it doesn't matter, we will just go undersea by coding. It takes around 1.5 days before we catch sight of the island. Makoto seems to get more used to this flying method of our ship as we had to follow the bird. Immediately as we are about to arrive there, I smile as I look at the hull of our ship and see a lanky man with blonde hair and weird ears. He saved me the trouble of even looking for him. Well, hello there, young man. I call out to the man with a friendly look on my face. "You should bow down to God," says Enel as he appears in front of me in the blink of an eye. I don't even flinch, my smile still on my face. I don't need to get angry at a dead man. He extends his hand and touches my shoulder. 50 million Vari. Nothing happens. Enel seems confused by this as I point at a coin that I have between my fingers and touching his skin. The coin is made out of sea stone. I got it from Wayno. It has a jaw written on one side, and on the other, it has my pirate flag symbol. It was expensive as sh*t to get this behind Kaido's back. But I have too much money anyway and can't spend money faster than I am making it. Anyway, I don't give Enel any time to react as Fwash! I grab him by the throat using hockey and I lift him by his neck and bomb! I slam him on the ground head first, and due to the coin being connected to his skin he can't even use his devil fruit ability. Crack! I can hear his neck crack and he dies. I then call my children. Bring the fruits here, let's see which one got the lightning fruit. I told them to hide just in case. But that was unnecessary it seems. Kakashi comes out and he has a blue fruit. It seems like an apple with strange swirls which seem to kinda resemble lightning. The rest of the siblings come out and look at Kakashi with a smile on their faces. This is one more powerhouse on the family and another layer of protection for the family. Kakashi smiles a little too. Munch. He takes a bite and his face pales a little, but in the end, he quickly eats the rest of the fruit. Damn, that was really gross. Though he says that, he has a smile on his face. I can't help it as I look at him with a look of pride on my face. Try using it. He nods, closes his eyes, and concentrates. *BZZZT. Electricity appears on his hand. He opens his eyes and looks at his hand with a face full of surprise and amazement. Chapter 46, Playing with Fire. I just look at Jaw as he returns. He steps off the ship with a smile on his face and even his children seem to be beaming, except Kisame as he has an annoyed look on his face as his hair is standing up with static shocks coming out. Did he try to pick up his father's sword again? But that doesn't matter as I just glance slightly at Ichigo. Though he is only 12 he looks more like 18 and I have to say out of his family he is the most handsome of them all. Anyway, I just approach Jaw and tell him about what happened while he was away. It was mostly just logistical reports and see that he has a bored look as he listens to me. I know that he is paying full attention to this. I have learned that Jaw isn't some dumb brute. Though his physical strength is monstrous, his mind is even sharper. That is exactly what I am also afraid of. He always has an amused smile when I ask him about certain information just out of curiosity. Does he already know that I am a spy of the world government? Fu*K, this guy is way scarier than any of the children which are honestly terrifying. I have been trained by the world government and even then I am sure that Mikoto can defeat me within seconds, and she is on the weaker side of the family physically. After explaining Jaw all of that and him talking to me for about half an hour about their holiday but he still gave me zero information on what actually happened. Now I just know that Kisame tried some dinosaur meat and liked it. I just go on the inside of the castle and towards the training grounds and there I see Ichigo training. Fwash! I see him do a weak air slash with his sword that does a small scratch in the tree in front of him. I see his cute face frown. This is bad. I must remember that he is only 12 years old. But still, age is just a number and if he decides to be like his father whom at 12 had him, though I won't be having children with him, I wouldn't mind doing it with someone as good looking as him. I mean I tried seducing his father, he does have a harem so he must be amazing in the bed or something like that. But he isn't exactly physically appealing, but I was willing to compromise because if I became part of his harem or something like that I would become part of the family which means that I would have access to whatever I would want. Still, in no way I can trick Jaw, he can see right through me and if I tried something he might figure out who I am and what I am here for, that would spell certain death to me if that happened. I can see it in his eyes too, he has no intention of ever doing anything more than teasing me. Still, I have a stack of documents and push up my glasses slightly as I approach Ichigo who is lying down in the ground. General POV. Ichigo lies on the ground breathing heavily. He still doesn't have the necessary physical strength to use flying slashes. He understands the principle behind it. He has even seen his father and Kisame do the flying slashes with no problem. Suddenly, as he is lying down, relaxing with the sun hitting his face, he closes his eyes. He contemplates what he should do better to try and make those slashes fly. But that is when he feels a shadow cover him. He opens his eyes and sees his father's secretary, Califa. Her blue eyes stare into his brown eyes. "You shouldn't try to brute force it," says Califa suddenly. Ichigo is confused by what she means by that. "You need to do it more elegantly and smother the air. Don't try to copy your father. There are multiple ways to achieve a flying slash. Brute force isn't the only way." As she says that, she extends her hand to Ichigo and pulls him up. "I didn't know that you were so knowledgeable about swordsmanship. Actually, I didn't know that you were even a fighter at all," says Ichigo confusedly. Califa just smirks slightly at this. "Well, I am a Yonko's secretary and one can't become that by just being weak. Especially to someone like your father who expects perfection out of everyone," says Califa with a sweet smile on her face. Ichigo looks surprised at that. Dad seeks perfection out of everyone? Califa smiles at that and even chuckles a little. "Yep, even from you and your siblings too. He wants to protect you all, that is why he does what he does." Ichigo seems to contemplate what Califa just said. "I never really looked at it that way." He then looks at Califa and takes a deep breath before bowing down to his waist and saying, "Thanks for everything, Califa-san. But can I bother you to teach me about the flying slashes?" As he had his head looking at the ground, he didn't see that in Califa's face a small blush appeared. "Aw, Ichigo, you are so polite, nice, smart, gentlemanly, and handsome, truly the perfect man." But while she sees that Ichigo gets up and expects an answer from her, Califa's face immediately calms down and is back to her polite smile. "Of course I will help you, Ichigo." Ichigo smiles at her as she says that. Califa just puts her documents on the ground and says, "Okay, show me your stance." Ichigo's expression changes to a serious one and Califa goes behind him and leans her body and guides his hands and as she touches his abdominal muscles. Ichigo can't help it as he blushes a little at this. "Concentrate," says Califa as she guides his sword back and continues to whisper in his ear. "Relax your body, just like you are swimming on your back. That is it." Califa then pushes her body against Ichigo even more, and as she has a calm look on her face, Ichigo's face also is calm. He has already controlled his feelings and is currently calm. The only thing left that he can hear is Califa's soft voice that whispers in his ear and his rhythmic heartbeat that is getting slower. "Now, as your body's muscles are all relaxed, your sword is just slipping out of your fingers. Now strike," yells Califa suddenly, and Ichigo's muscles tense up all over again and his body suddenly using its full power, and Califa's hair flutter as she sees something beyond amazing. A giant white slash comes out of Ichigo's sword and boom! It reality cuts through the tree and even made a giant gash on the wall behind it. He did it on the first try, that is what surprised her. He even went beyond the tree and made a large gash on the wall. "What the hell?" thinks Califa in shock. She has never seen someone like this. What Califa didn't know was that in one of the towers from the skyscrapers, 3 people were looking at the interaction between Califa and Ichigo. They were Kakashi, Mikoto, and Escanor. Kakashi was reading a book while Mikoto and Escanor were looking at them directly. Mikoto especially had a dangerous look in her eyes as she says, "Now, Califa wouldn't be as dumb as to try and seduce Ichigo, would she? That is extremely suspicious. Why she would do that. Maybe a little torture would definitely loosen up her lips." Hums Escanor thinking about this. Kakashi just gives the situation a side glance as he decides to give his own suggestion. "I can use my devil fruit and cause her an extreme amount of pain without permanently injuring her." Chapter 47, Mikoto's Anger. After that teaching session, Califa went back to her duties while Ichigo went back to mess around with some of his younger siblings. As Califa was walking down the hallways, she saw Makoto at the end of the hallway, and she had a calm look in her eyes. "Good morning, Makoto," greets Califa. She has a smile on her face as she says that. But Makoto doesn't say anything as she just walks past her. Arrogant B***TCH. Thinks Califa, as in the end she just walks past her too. Fwash! Califa can suddenly feel the wind behind her move, and she instinctively moves and jumps sideways and dodges. She sees that Makoto has a crazy look in her eyes, as they have widened beyond what should be possible for her. Makoto looks at Califa with her dark eyes and says, "You dodged? Why would you do that, Califa-san? Or more accurately, how can you do that?" Califa's body is covered in cold sweat as soon as she sees the psychotic look on Makoto's face. "You wouldn't be trying to hurt my family, would you, Califa?" **T, what gave me away?" While Califa thinks that she has a nervous look in her eyes, she knows just **kid she is if she is found out right here in the middle of the hallway. She can't even kill Makoto in a straight-up fight, as Makoto is stronger than her physically too. Though hundreds of thoughts go through her mind, she still has a calm look ahead and hadn't said anything compromising. To her, the situation is still solvable. "Makoto, I think that you have misunderstood something. I don't know what you are talking about. I have never done anything that would go against Jaw's benefits, and you know that." Makoto just looks at her with that psychotic look in her eyes still. BZZZT. With a lightning flash, Kakashi appears next to Makoto and calmly says, "Sis, you need to calm down. This B***TCH is trying to hurt our family. The whole pain in the world is not enough to wash off her sins. We should torture her before we kill her. Slowly rip out her nails, one by one, then her teeth, and after that, we start with the eyes." Makoto continues to describe terrific tortures that can be administered to Califa. "Calm down," says Kakashi, this time a little more forcefully. But Makoto doesn't listen. "Fu**K that, I will rip this B***TCH apart." Immediately she escapes Kakashi's grip and rushes Califa. But as Skeiner comes out, his muscles fully puffed up. He has already used his muscle fruit to enhance his body's muscles. He grabs Makoto by the back of the head and puts her on the ground. "Makoto, this isn't like you at all, you need to calm down," says Skeiner as his arms surprisingly shake a little as he holds Makoto down on the ground. Makoto looks up at Califa with a killer look in her eyes. "That B***TCH could cause the death of one of our family members. We have the babies in here too. We let that B***TCH close to our baby brothers and sisters. Can you even imagine if she decided to kill one of them? I will torture the WH**re to insanity," says Makoto, her state of mind very volatile at the moment. Though she is a bright child, just imagining the death of one of her siblings has brought forth an unimaginable rage from her. Kakashi can see that surprisingly the usually calm sibling of his is irrationally angry. Though he is angry too, he can control that anger. He learned something new about his sister today, that is for sure. In the end, Kakashi has no choice but to tell Skeiner. Escort Makoto back to her room. She seems. Skeiner, who is the calmest amongst the three of his siblings. Intelligence can in a way be a curse too, because both Kakashi and Makoto could figure out ways that Califa could have killed one of the baby siblings and gotten away with it. In a way, they are already overanalyzing the situation, while in Skeiner's eyes, Califa is already caught and no danger to his family. So for him, that is it, there is no what would have been, there is no deep knowledge to be gotten by thinking of different possibilities of what could have been. Makoto struggles in Skeiner's arms and tells him to let her go so she can rip out Califa's face. As Makoto is taken away, Kakashi now looks at Califa with a calm look on his face. This terrifies Califa even more because she knows that even if she was innocent, now that Makoto is angry and mad at her, they will kill her to appease Makoto. She knows how this crazy family works. As long as it makes a family member happy, then the life of someone else is unimportant. "You know what will happen now, don't you?" says Kakashi calmly. Califa simply nods at this. She knows that if she just accepts her fate then she will be given a painless death, at least she hopes so. Fwash! Kakashi appears next to her and whispers to her. Sorry, but it seems like you will have to go to sleep now. 10 million Volvari. BZZZT. Everything goes black for her as she feels a gentle lightning current run through her body. Kakashi wasn't too harsh on her, except her teaching Ichigo and acting seductively around him. There was no proof of any other misconduct or anything like that, and if Califa truly was innocent, then they are simply killing a very skillful secretary who is very good at time management. A couple of hours pass and the whole family is back together to discuss what is going to happen to Califa. They were all sitting on a table as Califa was tied up with sea prism stone chains just to be sure. Jaw is just sitting there with his arms folded as he looks at his children between the age of 12 and 10 discuss matters on someone's life and death. I am with Makoto on this one, says Kisame as he also has a furious look on his face. He is the eldest brother and if something happened to his younger siblings he would never be able to forgive himself. His usually slow-minded and joyful look is nowhere to be seen on his face. He had a hard and cold look. I think that we should torture her publicly and make an example. Kakashi nods at that. I agree, that would put fear in the hearts of any other spy laying around. So they either decide to escape or confess. Even if they decide to stay, that will make them inefficient due to their fear. Escanor on the other hand just shakes his head. I think that we should keep this matter private. After all, people already fear father. There is no need for theatrics like this. It will just make us seem weak for the need to even resort to such methods. Deidara is the one to agree with Escanor too. Yes, we should consider what Escanor and I said. After all, we are already strong. Showing such petty tricks might fool the masses, but the real important and strong guys will simply see us as weak, or they might even come to the conclusion that we might not be as strong as we seem. As this happens, Ichigo had a complicated look on his face. Hearing his siblings talk about the death of someone whom he was close to so casually, it truly brought his mood down. He didn't know what to do and just gave a side glance towards his father to figure out what he is thinking. He saw that his father too looked back at him and had an encouraging smile that pretty much said that he could do what he thought was right. So in the end Ichigo decided to tackle his stance and say, I don't think that she is a threat. As soon as he said that, he felt the gazes of his siblings settle down on him. But he didn't buckle under the pressure at all and said, We have no proof that she is even involved in anything like what you were talking about. She only taught me how to do a flying slash. If she had bad intentions, then why would she help me if I am her enemy? Simple, said Kakashi. She wanted for you to grow feelings for her and in the end fall in love. After that, she will make you do a family betrayal, and that is it pretty much. No way would I betray family for her. Counter-argues Ichigo. Kakashi looks directly into his eyes and says, Then what is stopping you from letting her die then? Ichigo winces a little at that, and he couldn't help but feel like any of his siblings were on his side until he hears one of them say, I think that Ichigo's idea has its merit. I mean, even if she was a spy, if she somehow decided to turn to our side, then that would be very helpful to us. Ichigo turns to look at the person who supported him, and it was his brother, which is 1 year younger than him. This sibling had red hair that covered his eyes and a seemingly small figure. He is Nagato, Jaw's 8th son, and someone who is usually very quiet at times like this. While everything was happening, Jaw looked at his children discussing such things, and he has a proud smile on his face. He didn't care whether Califa died or lived, he just wanted his children to learn and develop from an occasion like this. Califa is no threat because he can sense her emotions with his observation haki. Chapter 48, Califa wakes up. I look at my children as they debate things like adults, even though they are only 12 years old. I knew that one day this time would come, so it's better to happen sooner than later. Makoto also seems to have an anger problem. Honestly, I never expected this from her, as she always seemed more cool-headed. She also is smart, but that anger of hers is a kind of problem. I will have to spend some more time with her alone to try and settle this before it becomes too big of a problem. I know just how dangerous anger can be in a fight. It is especially bad for observation hockey, need to nip that in the bud quickly before it grows into something like unreasonable rage. She isn't someone like Big Mom, who is so strong that her rage doesn't affect her fighting style too much. Still, though I just look at one of my children who is usually quiet, Nagato, he isn't a big talker but he has a good head on his shoulders, and he is also kind. He is the nicest amongst my children who are mostly selfish and think only about family. But I also know that Nagato too has family in his heart way more than some random people, and that is why I plan to give him a devil fruit in the future that is quite strong. Anyway, I will see where this meeting goes and how will my children learn to make decisions for themselves without my input. They will learn to calmly discuss things, and learn along the way. They will have the common sense to judge a difficult situation and look for the greater good of the family instead of only themselves. General POV. Everyone looks at Nagato, but he doesn't seem nervous at all as he looks back at his siblings' eyes. You are all letting your feelings cloud your mind. As he says that, he looks at Kakashi and Makoto, both of whom are highly intelligent but they are currently making rash decisions and not using their intelligence. Nagato can see that as he continues to say, I say that we keep her alive, at least temporarily. If she is willing to turn double agent for us, that will be an extreme benefit to us. In the end, we can still cleanly kill her and again discuss the way we will do it another time. But for now, we won't lose anything if we let her live while keeping an eye on her. Again, please think logically about this, and Kakashi, Makoto, don't let the love for us cloud your judgment ever again. Because by doing that you are indirectly less able to protect us. Thank you for listening to me, that is all I had to say. He bows his head slightly and goes back to leaning on his seat. As ever, Nagato was extremely polite even while discussing something like this. He has always been polite and quiet, but he couldn't stand watching his siblings acting so irrationally. Especially Kakashi and Makoto, they were the sibling that he looked up to them the most. In the end, the rest of the siblings calm down and truly think things through logically and calm down. Jaw has to hold back a smirk that starts appearing on his face. His kids are 12 years old. No matter how mature their bodies are or how smart some of them are, no 12 years old will be able to act 100% logically. But that doesn't mean that Jaw hasn't already started straining their mental facilities. He is doing so right now, having them make decisions like that, and honestly this time the one who showed the most logical thinking is the usually quiet Nagato. Nagato's speech caused a ripple amongst the siblings, making them understand that Califa isn't truly too dangerous as long as they keep an eye on her. This was the turning point, pushing the votes in Ichigo's favor, and everyone agreed that letting her live a little longer and see if she is beneficial to the family would be best. As Califa wakes up, well, more like she was awake quite a while ago, but she was acting like she was unconscious by slowing down her breathing and heartbeat to that of an unconscious person. This way she knew her situation and how she should proceed. Well, for one, she knows that jig is up now, so she has to give it up and come out truthful or her death will be a terrific one. Now she also knows which one of the kids is on her side, and that is no one. Not even Ichigo was on her side, as his opinion that he gave was half hatred, and if the siblings decided to kill her then he definitely wouldn't have made a fuss about it. Califa can't compare at all to his family, so he obviously wouldn't choose her over the family. Even Nagato wasn't really against killing Califa and was okay with it as long as they got the maximum benefits out of her. As the children see her wake up and Califa sees them, she also notices that they are all looking at her with cold eyes. And they are calm about it too. Even Ichigo has a dull and cold look on his face as he says with a cold voice, "Confess." That simple line made Califa feel like a fish that is ready to be ripped apart by sharks. In the end, she chooses to give up and say, "Yes. I am a spy. I work for the world government and am currently on a mission to observe Yonko Jaw. I am part of Cipher Pol 9, or also known as CP9. This is the division which the chief of Enies Lobby Spandam manages. But the orders were given from higher above." She says that all with a calm face. Acting any more in front of them is bound to get her tortured. She definitely isn't ready for that. She especially doesn't want to be in the hands of Makoto, because she can get creative with her methods and do much more than physical pain. The children are all calm at this, and in the end, they ask again, Tell us everything that you have told them and the information that you have in us? Kakashi also adds on by saying, also, we will be giving you some new information that you will send to the world government. Plus, we want to edit the information that they already have, make them think that we are weak where we are strong and make us seem strong where we are weak. Califa nods at this meekly. Though her father is from the world government and she was even raised there, she doesn't want to die for it. After all, what did the world government ever even do for her? Jaw just can't wipe the smile off his face as he sees this. They are learning again. Though they haven't grown stronger physically during this meeting, it definitely helped them understand some things and learn some others. I would have created a situation like this for them anyway, but thank you Califa for creating this one. You have taught my children an important lesson. While this was all happening, Naruto had dozed off and was just sleeping with his eyes open. Dead Cat too was just sleeping on Naruto's lap. Some people just can't learn. Chapter 49, Reverie. As I hear Califa say that, I see that the children, in the end, decide to keep her alive as she has said that she will work for us. She agreed to teach us the 6 powers of the Marines too. I have most of them figured out, but I guess knowing more of them wouldn't be bad. I can use some dodging methods like Kami and such. Also, I should try learning Rokugan. Also, Ichigo will be in charge of looking after her. This will be his responsibility and he will be able to see that no matter how she acts now, she was a spy. Anyway, now that I have reached my physical limit doesn't mean that this is the limit growth of my power. Plus, science should be used to be able to break through my physical limits. I should try and make contact with Vinsmoke Judge. He definitely will be the only person who will help someone like me. Well, more like being forced to help, as I will destroy Germa 66 if he disagrees. Destroying him isn't big trouble, especially since the Germa kingdom is constantly moving in the water. That gives me a huge advantage no matter what. Nothing in this world can compete with me in water. Anyway, as I walk around the main building I can't help but contemplate many things. I will have to train again, not just for learning, but for my physical strength to not deteriorate. I am currently only 24 years old, and I already reached my limit. Though in the beginning growing to 3 meter tall was cool and all that, now it has lost its factor as now I am used to most people reaching only to around my chest in height. I arrive at the elevator as I walk past the countless paintings whose eyes follow me as I walk along. It creeps people out when they come to talk to me and it's kind of cool. I press the button to go to the basement of the building where the training room lies. There I have weights with hundreds of tons. That is the only way that I can even train any longer and actually feel the burn, so they say. As I arrive at one of the machines and start punching it and causally completely obliterating it. It's not even a challenge. The machine is supposed to measure up to 10,000 Doriki. Which pretty much means nothing, as even Kisame can reach up to almost 10,000 though he can't break it. I am pretty confident that in his 20s Kisame should surpass me in raw physical power. He was simply born more powerful than me in that, he has my genes and even more as he was born naturally strong. Hopefully, he can reach Kaido and Big Mom levels of raw power. That way our family gets a higher chance of completing my dream and having this world under our control. After that we should start trying to see how space exploration is achieved. It is definitely possible, and easier than the one back in my Earth. Enel back during the canon timeline could reach the moon just by using his ship. I go towards the body bench press and there are some wide handcuffs. These were made by the scientists. I pick one up and immediately can feel the around 10-ton heaviness. I lock them on and start training by going through different methods and training the different muscles on my body. I want to be able to use Tekai and tank things like magma fists and such. The raw flesh and blood can't take that on because no matter how much one strengthens their body with Tekai, things like burning and such still affect the body. But if it's combined with my armament Haki, I should be able to handle something like the terrifying attack power of Akainu. But then there's Whitebeard. We are currently allies, kinda. I and he have no attack deal. I suggested the deal and told him about my children, and as a father, he should understand that I don't want my children to be attacked. He agreed quite easily and even let Fishman Island come under my protection. Now I can contend with the other Yonko like Kaido and Big Mom, but I am in no way gonna mess with a Whitebeard at the current time. Even at sea I am a little reluctant to attack him. His rumble rumble fruit is just that terrifying. At least until one of my children gets it, I am not planning for anyone else to get the devil fruit. I obviously won't eat it because it will create a weakness in my arsenal and ruin the power that I have gathered till now. So many things to think about. I should try getting some strong fruits for my children now so in the future they can master them. Also definitely need a fruit that reduces aging. That is a must for me and my family to continue living with immortality. When we get bored, then they can die, that way I won't be sad for them as they have lived the life that they want. I am unsure if I will ever truly decide to die. This world simply has too much to offer and explore. General POV. During the time Jaw was contemplating the future, the world kept moving and currently, the reverie was being held on Mary Geos. The meeting lasts 7 days and it is held every 4 years. Already 4 days had passed since the kings had discussed what they will do to handle Monkey D. Dragon. Now comes the second part of the discussion where they will discuss the next topic, which is considered very taboo for even the kings currently attending the meeting. An old man with a blonde beard, blonde hair, and he has a cigar in his mouth. He shows the other a photo of Jaws and says, "The next topic we must talk about is this man." As soon as he says that, some kings seemed scared of Jaws' photo, some were neutral to it and some others winced a little as they saw the photo of their benefactor. That is when an older man with dark gray eyes, prominent cheekbones, a big nose, and a thick jaw. He has black hair that's tied in a low ponytail behind his neck and a thick mustache that points down at the sides. He is the first one to speak up by saying, "I think that Jaw is just another Yonko, those monsters change every now and then. I don't think that he warrants any attention, plus there seems to not be any huge news going on around him. He also doesn't seem to be fighting the world government directly. As he says that everyone looks at him, he is King Tacos, one of the kings in Jaw's pockets as he and his country trade a lot. Dumbass, they talk about people like Jaw being criminals when the biggest criminals are in Mary Geos. They support trash like the celestial dragons and have the audacity to dare and call other people criminals. Though King Tacos is doing what Jaw told him, he is only doing so because it suits him and at the same time he is sending a hint to the other kings who had similar thoughts as him. Though what the King Taco didn't know was that the smart king saw him as a dead man already. Cypher Pole would definitely kill him. So even if they agreed with him internally, they wouldn't dare and do something like agree with him on the outside. But a seed of doubt was born in everyone's heart as Taco said this. What that seed will grow into, no one truly knows, yet. Though the world government talked about Jaw, the talk was only brief. Because the world government only wanted to separate Jaw's power that he has power over some of the kings. They had an equal exchange deal with him and both need each other. But they in no way were they friends. Chapter 50, Joining the Marines. During the time the reverie was happening. In the Marine headquarters, Itachi is walking next to Garp who is eating crackers. "Okay, Itachi, if anyone bullies you, come to me so I can beat you too. That way maybe that will push you to learn and study harder in the Marine base." Itachi nods at this. He will beat himself if he is bullied, he has power, so he must use it too. But he can't stand Garp already. The old man has been bragging about how many times he broke the cracker-eating world record during his time as a Marine. Garp keeps bothering Itachi all the way till he takes him to a building that seems like a dorm building, with a green yard, blue roof, and there were countless Marine flags around it. "Welp, this is it, brat, see you around. Say hello to my old pal Zed if you meet him," says Garp as he walks away while at the same time eating some rice crackers. Itachi sighs at this. Why do strong people like Garp or his father have to be so weird at everything they do? Even his strongest sibling, Kisame, acts extremely weird. In the end, Itachi just sighs and gets those weird thoughts out of his head. He just enters the yard of the building and looks around. He sees a couple of trees and green fields. He also sees that the entrance door is huge. Itachi can easily figure out that it's most likely for bigger-sized students. Itachi just walks forward. He has no luggage or anything like that since Garp said that he wouldn't need it. Everything will be provided by the Marines anyway, so it doesn't matter. In the end, he just has some white shorts and a dark short-sleeved shirt. As he enters the building, Itachi sees that the inside of the place was dyed in a light brown and white color. Also, a kind-looking old woman at the receptionist table. She looks at Itachi with a kind smile. "So you must be a newcomer?" As she asks that, Itachi nods his head and walks towards the old woman with a smile on his face too. "Hello there, ma'am. I was wondering what I should do since I already have had all of the paperwork done. I was brought by Vice Admiral Garp, and, well..." Itachi just scratched the back of his head nervously with a hard-to-keep smile on his face. The old woman still has a sweet smile on her face. "Oh, I understand how that feels. Garp has always been like that. Anyway, what is your name, young man?" "Ah. Thanks for understanding me, miss. You can call me Gran. Everyone here does." "Okay, Gran. My name is Itachi Uchiha," answers Itachi as he also spells his name for the old woman to write. After that, he is handed some keys and the old woman says, "Take care now. Also in the evening a paper with your schedule will be put under your door. Your room is number 769. Soon you will most likely get a roommate too, but at the time you can enjoy the free room all to yourself. Also tomorrow morning you will get a uniform too. Since all of the recruits are currently training, even the chore boys, so they can't bring it at the moment." Itachi nods at this and starts climbing the stairs till he hits the 7th floor, and in there he finds his room and he unlocks the door. When he enters he can see a simple bunk bed, 2 desks, and another door with toilet written on it. Well, this is good enough, thinks Itachi as he checks around the room and looks around for any cleaning appliances since there is quite a bit of dust around the corners or under objects. Probably a chore boy too lazy to clean it. Even while he thought that, Itachi has a contemplating look, and in the end, he decided to go downstairs and ask the old woman for some cleaning appliances. After getting some, he starts cleaning every nook and cranny of the room. After all, no matter how strong, if one gets sick then that is it. After that whole ordeal, he decides to explore the grounds where he will be living for a little while. Well, he plans to rise in rank and not stay as the chore boy for a long time. Garp already told him to rise through the ranks by himself, and he will do so. No discussion about it. I must train hard to get the Vice Admiral rank at least, or else this would be a worthless venture with any less. In the end, he finds out where the cafeteria, showers, and many other rooms are. He decides to go to the library and see if he can get anything. He searches about books and cooking and such things. Nothing too special was in them, but he did learn some new dishes except the ones from East Blue and such. Itachi POV. It is truly cool reading about different things from all of the blues and different cultures. For example, the people with the cleanest teeth are the ones from North Blue. I should try my hand at craftsmanship too. I want to be able to build my own ship if I am stranded on an island or something like that. Immediately I create some clones that come out of my body while at the same time they start going to read some books on different subjects. I think that with 10 clones a day, I should be able to read this whole library in a year. But I will keep creating more and more as I don't plan to stay too long here. Creating clones takes stamina, but maintaining them doesn't really take any stamina, and even if it does, it is pretty negligible to me. Dad said that I shouldn't create clones until I am exhausted, as that would put me at risk needlessly. He said that someone can attain awakening just by using a devil fruit. They must understand it to its core and have countless experiences using it. One must come up with almost impossible methods of usage for a devil fruit before it awakens. A couple more hours later and the sky starts darkening. I let my clones just wander around. I already gave the information to the Marines about my devil fruit. Of course, I said nothing about returning memories back to me when I absorb them. Still, I must now show just how much potential I have if I want to raise through the ranks quickly. After eating dinner, I just go back to my room and fall asleep. I also absorb half of the clones and then create 5 more. I understand some things now, even on how the Marines cross the comm belt, but Dad already figured it out, so that is useless to tell Dad. I didn't meet anyone interesting at dinner and just simply ate alone. But the chore boys are really weak, like really weak. Like a 5-year-old Naruto could wipe the floor with 100 of them. Wonder how Naruto is doing now. Probably just messing around. Tomorrow will be the first time that I will start training with the others. Chapter 51, First Day. The next day Itachi wakes up and gets ready to meet with other chore boys and go to the training grounds. He puts on his marine uniform, which consists of a sleeveless white top with the marine insignia in the back and blue pants. But at this time on the training grounds, a place where the Marines take turns by ranks to be trained by Zephyr. The training ground has different weights that one can lift, from 10 kilograms to 2 tons. There were also track fields and wooden targets for sharpshooters. But in this training ground a tan-skinned, purple-haired man was already waiting for the new students while sitting on one of the giant weights. He is also using one hand to read a paper. The man is also wearing reading glasses and one of his arms looks like a mechanical construction. The cybernetic arm was wearing a glove and resembled his other muscular arm, except mechanical. The paper he is reading is about one of the recruits that was suggested by one of his old friends who was too lazy to train him himself. Garp knows that Zephyr is better as a teacher than him. He has been training Marine recruits for decades now. Though his arm last year was cut off and it left Zephyr with an emotional shock of seeing his students dying. Itachi Uchiha. As he reads Itachi's file he can't help but be impressed with his physical abilities and personality evaluation. This kid is talented. I wonder if I can train another admiral by now. Zephyr contemplates that. He knows that someone like Itachi who seems to have been born with high physical strength. If he trains religiously then he will become strong. He himself was nothing special, but at the age of 38, he did reach the admiral rank. That was all just due to his training and hard work, unlike the other admirals which have devil fruits or are born unnaturally strong. Garp, for example, even as a kid would tame tigers and use them as his traveling method. Something that could rip apart an adult was easily handled by him as a kid. Zephyr can't help but as he contemplates how to train Itachi. The kid has potential and even caught Garp's eye. He definitely will be someone strong in the future. Half an hour later and the chore boys arrive to train at 6 in the morning. The lower the rank, the earlier one has to wake up and train. The training is obligatory and lasts for 1 hour. At least until they get the rank of Seaman First Class. They must train like this if they want to be Marines at the headquarters. Zephyr jumps off the training weight that he is sitting on and lands in front of the chore boys. Attention! Good morning, Teacher Zephyr. Everyone greets him simultaneously, even Itachi does so. As soon as he saw the others do it, he just saluted and moved his lips, making it seem like he is doing it too. 20 laps around the training ground in 20 minutes or no breakfast for you, says Zephyr casually. Immediately the chore boys start running at full speed. Some run faster, some slower, and some have already given up on breakfast, so they just jog casually. Itachi sees that the others have started running. He crouches down and immediately breaks into a sprint, immediately easily surpassing them all. He goes at top speed and finishes his laps under 5 minutes. This is just his running speed as he didn't use Sora to supplement his speed. In the end, he wasn't even breathing heavily. When Zephyr sees this he just smirks slightly. Itachi Uchiha, come with me. He remembers the names of every one of his trainees, no matter how weak or strong they are. Itachi just looks at Zephyr when he hears his name being called. He casually walks towards his teacher. His walk shows that he is not nervous at all. As he comes close, he looks at Itachi and points his palm at him. Punch my palm with all that you got. If I find it satisfactory, I will promote you. Itachi seems slightly surprised when he hears this. He didn't expect a promotion option to come up so soon. On the other hand, Zephyr has other thoughts in his mind. Keeping him here as a chore boy would be a waste of time for him. In the end, Itachi just nods and he has his usual calm look on his face as he clocks his fist backward. He has never been good at Fishman karate, even the lowest of levels were extremely hard to him. But he still knows how to throw a decent punch and maximize power output through it. He takes a deep breath and holds it in for a couple of seconds, making his body make blood flow faster to carry oxygen. Phew. He then exhales and that is when he punches forward. Pow! Hitting Zephyr's palm. Obviously the old admiral wasn't at all affected by it. But he did have a slightly thoughtful look in his eyes. At 12 years old and his Doriki is already at 800. Contemplates Zephyr. At 800 Doriki one can easily enter Cypherpole and even be a good agent at it too. Itachi already has the qualifications to learn the 6 powers. If this kid keeps up his training, he has an 80% chance of becoming an admiral-level combatant. Kid, now you are a seaman first class. You will have to keep training though. Also, you can come and ask me any questions that you have. You will get your room in the headquarters too. In 6 months I will personally take you to go pirate hunting. Explains Zephyr as a smirk appears on his face. Welcome to the Marines, brat. Later someone will come and pick you up and show you around. Itachi nods at this and just goes towards the weights and picks the couple 100 kilograms weights. He then starts training with them. He trained for 4 hours straight with no rest. Once his arms got tired, he trained his legs. If that got tired, he would train his abdominal muscles and back muscles. Zephyr would also give him some instructions on how to exercise every now and then. Itachi would also ask him questions and would follow what Zephyr said without complaining. 8 hours into his training and except eating breakfast or lunch, Itachi again comes and trains. Everyone else in the Marines fished their training already. Zephyr didn't think that the kid would last that long. But Itachi's willpower is truly something that is way more precious than his physical talent. His haki will be monstrous once he learns about it. Thinks Zephyr as he can see that Itachi isn't as simple as he seems. His hard work is like that of someone with a mission. I wonder what his motivation is. 10 hours in his training, it's now 4 in the afternoon and Itachi finally falls on the ground. The dirt feels like a pillow as he falls asleep. Immediately as he does so, one of his clones comes and picks him up. The clone then looks at Zephyr and asks, "Where do I take him? Do we change living quarters too?" Zephyr nods at the clone and says, "Follow me." Chapter 52, Ein. As Zephyr guides Itachi, clone, to the main building of the Marine headquarters. The clone just asks the instructor, "So, how strong do you think the original is?" Zephyr was unsure if he should answer as that would make Itachi arrogant if he says that he is strong or such things. But he remembers how Itachi trained for hours upon hours. Currently, you can easily be as strong as a captain of Marine headquarters, says Zephyr. And he wasn't exaggerating. At 12 he was about as strong as a captain. Of course, there are different categories of strength and ranks, but in a general overview, Itachi would be a captain. The clone Itachi nods at that. Then it seems like the original has a long way to go. Zephyr smiles when he hears that. As he suspected, Itachi is ambitious. Someone like that is perfect for the Marines. At this time, in the Marine headquarters main building, Garp was laying down on Sengoku's office, sleeping in one of the couches. That is when Sengoku opens his office door with a loud bang. "Garp! The new recruit that you brought in is only 12 years old. He is supposed to go to the orphanage and train there. These are the rules. Bringing a child like that in the training place that is for people over the age of 14 is illegal." As he yells all of this, he looks at Garp to hear his answer, but instead, Garp is just sleeping still and snores loudly. "Garp!" yells out Sengoku loudly once again. His anger goes to new levels as he sees Garp just opens his eyes for a little bit, mumbles something unintelligible, and turns around on the couch he is laying down on. "Sengoku, can't you see I am sleeping, you stupid goat beard?" mumbles Garp. Ein is currently preparing some tea for Zephyr as he will be returning soon from training the Marine Corps. She is sitting in a modest-looking place with a table, kitchen, and a tea ceremony set. Teacher Zephyr has been in a bad mood ever since the attack. Contemplates Ein. She can't help but feel sorry for the old Zephyr. Even his health has been getting worse recently. "Garp," I said, "wake up." Ein hears that scream as the building shakes slightly. Fleet Admiral Sengoku and Vice Admiral Garp seem to be at it again. Thinks Ein aloud. She is already used to this. Usually, every time Garp comes to the Marine headquarters, he somehow annoys Sengoku to no end. Knock knock. Suddenly she heard a knock on the door and she heard the door open. She knows that it is Zephyr due to him always knocking even though technically this is his living place. She looks at him and surprisingly sees two twins, one of them is holding the other on his back as he sleeps. Who are they? Asks Ain with her curiosity visible in her voice. Zephyr smiles at her question and says, well, he is Itachi and his clone. Huh? Ain is confused about this. What? The Itachi clone starts explaining to her what his devil fruit does. Whoa! That is amazing, Itachi. You must tell me some more about it. It's not only strong but also very convenient. Exclaims Ain in amazement. She also has a devil fruit, but it isn't that strong by itself. Nor is it that convenient, though she guesses that she will appreciate her fruit when she is older. The clone just lays the original on the ground and talks with Ain. HM? Really? I always thought that my fruit was on the weak side. I mean compared to the magma, light, or such other Logia fruits of the admirals. Mine is only at best mediocre. Ain just flickers, clone, Itachi's forehead and says, don't say that, your fruit is amazing. Zephyr interferes in this too by saying, just imagine that if you ever become a vice admiral or something like that. Then even an admiral wouldn't be able to fight 100 vice admirals, then if you awaken your fruit. It will be terrifying to fight against you. Itachi's eyes widen a little when he hears this. Is this what Dad had in mind when he gave me this fruit? As Itachi, clone, thinks this, the original stirs up and looks around. He looks at his clone and extends his hand toward the clone. The clone then gets up and gives the original a handshake. Immediately the clone deflates like a balloon and his memories are absorbed by Itachi. Later on, Itachi is guided to his room by Ain and she explains to him how things generally work around here. As they are walking, Ain can't help but ask Itachi his age, who is about her height. By the way, how old are you, Itachi? I am 17 and wonder how did you get in the Marines? Ain can't help but smile with a blush on her face as she asks that. Itachi is handsome, strong, and very humble. He also is respectful and seems to be kind too. The perfect man. I am 12. Answers Itachi as he enters his new room. Anyway, see you around 9. I am currently still too tired from the training, so I will sleep now and eat a very big breakfast in the morning. Ain can feel the world crushing her as she hears Itachi say that. Him being 12 shocked her, he looks like he is at least 16. Itachi on the other hand doesn't care about any of that. He noticed the signs that Ain was sending him, his father has a harem. He knows when someone is showing affection towards him. Ain is simply infatuated with him. As Dad used to say, it's just a simple crush. Thinks Itachi, as his mind wanders at the most important part. Her devil fruit, it's quite interesting. He thinks that as he opens the window to his new room and contemplates it. Her fruit will be quite useful to the family. As he thinks that, a strange look appears in Itachi's eyes. Unlike his usual eyes that he portrays in front of others, his eyes gain a certain coldness in them as he looks at the full moon out tonight. At the same time, Ain just walks back to her room dejectedly. Tomorrow comes in the blink of an eye. Itachi wakes up in his new room, which is fully cleaned up by his clones before he went to sleep yesterday evening. As usual, he gets up and does the routine that he has always done ever since he was a child. Brushing his teeth, some stretches, a shower, and he then goes to get some breakfast. As he walks in the cafeteria, he doesn't see Ain or anyone like that. The cafeteria is huge and has thousands of official Marines in there. They already had their group of friends and such. So he just goes and sits on his own. He takes a giant tray of food as big as half of his body. But that doesn't seem to be strange at all amongst the Marines, so no one pays him attention amongst the rowdy hall. Itachi just takes his food on an empty seat and starts eating, unbothered by the loud sounds around him. Chapter 52, Ain. As Zephyr guides Itachi, clone, to the main building of the Marine headquarters. The clone just asks the instructor. So, how strong do you think the original is? Zephyr was unsure if he should answer, as that would make Itachi arrogant if he says that he is strong or such things. But he remembers how Itachi trained for hours upon hours. Currently, you can easily be as strong as a captain of Marine headquarters, says Zephyr. And he wasn't exaggerating, at 12 he was about as strong as a captain. Of course, there are different categories of strength and ranks, but in a general overview, Itachi would be a captain. The clone Itachi nods at that. Then it seems like the original has a long way to go. Zephyr smiles when he hears that. As he suspected, Itachi is ambitious. Someone like that is perfect for the Marines. At this time, in the Marine headquarters main building, Garp was laying down on Sengoku's office, sleeping in one of the couches. That is when Sengoku opens his office door with a loud bang. Garp! The new recruit that you brought in is only 12 years old. He is supposed to go to the orphanage and train there. These are the rules. Bringing a child like that in the training place that is for people over the age of 14 is illegal. As he yells all of this, he looks at Garp to hear his answer, but instead, Garp is just sleeping still and snores loudly. GARP! Yells out Sengoku loudly once again. His anger goes to new levels as he sees Garp just opens his eyes for a little bit, mumbles something unintelligible, and turns around on the couch he is laying down on. Sengoku, can't you see I am sleeping, you stupid goat beard? Mumbles Garp. Ain is currently preparing some tea for Zephyr as he will be returning soon from training the Marine Corps. She is sitting in a modest-looking place with a table, kitchen, and a tea ceremony set. Teacher Zephyr has been in a bad mood ever since the attack. Contemplates Ain, she can't help but feel sorry for the old Zephyr. Even his health has been getting worse recently. GARP, I said, wake up. Ain hears that scream as the building shakes slightly. Fleet Admiral Sengoku and Vice Admiral Garp seem to be at it again. Thinks Ain aloud. She is already used to this. Usually, every time Garp comes to the Marine headquarters, he somehow annoys Sengoku to no end. Knock knock. Suddenly she heard a knock on the door and she heard the door open. She knows that it is Zephyr due to him always knocking even though technically this is his living place. She looks at him and surprisingly sees two twins, one of them is holding the other on his back as he sleeps. Who are they? Asks Ain with her curiosity visible in her voice. Zephyr smiles at her question and says, well, he is Itachi and his clone. Huh? Ain is confused about this. What? The Itachi clone starts explaining to her what his devil fruit does. Whoa! That is amazing, Itachi. You must tell me some more about it. It's not only strong but also very convenient. Exclaims Ain in amazement. She also has a devil fruit, but it isn't that strong by itself. Nor is it that convenient, though she guesses that she will appreciate her fruit when she is older. The clone just lays the original on the ground and talks with Ain. HM? Really? I always thought that my fruit was on the weak side. I mean compared to the magma, light, or such other Logia fruits of the admirals. Mine is only at best mediocre. Ain just flickers, clone, Itachi's forehead and says, don't say that, your fruit is amazing. Zephyr interferes in this too by saying, just imagine that if you ever become a vice admiral or something like that. Then even an admiral wouldn't be able to fight 100 vice admirals, then if you awaken your fruit. It will be terrifying to fight against you. Itachi's eyes widen a little when he hears this. Is this what Dad had in mind when he gave me this fruit? As Itachi, clone, thinks this, the original stirs up and looks around. He looks at his clone and extends his hand toward the clone. The clone then gets up and gives the original a handshake. Immediately the clone deflates like a balloon and his memories are absorbed by Itachi. Later on, Itachi is guided to his room by Ain and she explains to him how things generally work around here. As they are walking, Ain can't help but ask Itachi his age, who is about her height. By the way, how old are you, Itachi? I am 17 and wonder how did you get in the Marines? I can't help but smile with a blush on her face as she asks that. Itachi is handsome, strong, and very humble. He also is respectful and seems to be kind too. The perfect man. I am 12. Answers Itachi as he enters his new room. Anyway, see you around 9. I am currently still too tired from the training, so I will sleep now and eat a very big breakfast in the morning. Ain can feel the world crushing her as she hears Itachi say that. Him being 12 shocked her. He looks like he is at least 16. Itachi, on the other hand, doesn't care about any of that. He noticed the signs that Ain was sending him. His father has a harem. He knows when someone is showing affection towards him. Ain is simply infatuated with him. As Dad used to say, it's just a simple crush. Thinks Itachi, as his mind wanders at the most important part. Her devil fruit, it's quite interesting. He thinks that as he opens the window to his new room and contemplates it. Her fruit will be quite useful to the family. As he thinks that, a strange look appears in Itachi's eyes. Unlike his usual eyes that he portrays in front of others, his eyes gain a certain coldness in them as he looks at the full moon out tonight. At the same time, Ain just walks back to her room dejectedly. Tomorrow comes in the blink of an eye. Itachi wakes up in his new room, which is fully cleaned up by his clones before he went to sleep yesterday evening. As usual, he gets up and does the routine that he has always done ever since he was a child. Brushing his teeth, some stretches, a shower, and he then goes to get some breakfast. As he walks in the cafeteria, he doesn't see Ain or anyone like that. The cafeteria is huge and has thousands of official Marines in there. They already had their group of friends and such. So he just goes and sits on his own. He takes a giant tray of food as big as half of his body. But that doesn't seem to be strange at all amongst the Marines, so no one pays him attention amongst the rowdy hall. Itachi just takes his food on an empty seat and starts eating, unbothered by the loud sounds around him. Chapter 53, Itachi vs. Zephyr. 1 month has passed since Itachi joined the Marines. Currently, he is in a green forest and looks at his teacher Zephyr, who is standing opposite of him, and asks, "You ready, Itachi?" Itachi nods at this and confirms. "Yes, Teacher Zephyr." Fwash! As soon as he says that, Zephyr disappears from his place and his mechanical arm darkens, though Itachi's eyes can't follow him. Itachi jumps back and does a flip and lands in a one-handed handstand. His feet then move like snakes. Rankyaku ran, storm leg riot. In a split second, over 30 Rankyaku slashes were made by his legs and are sent at where Zephyr is as he intended to hit Itachi. Zephyr has to use Tekai, Iron Body, to stop the wind blades from injuring him. He immediately disappears along with the barrage and appears in front of Itachi. Itachi can't dodge as Zephyr's metallic fist hits him in the stomach. It easily breaks Itachi's Tekai and he coughs a little blood. Bomb! His body crashes into a tree. Zephyr doesn't give Itachi any time as he appears above his body and hits him in the stomach with a straight punch again. Itachi's eyes widen as the fist hits him. Zephyr is, almost, not holding back. Well, he is not holding back his speed at least. His strength, on the other hand, well, he doesn't want to kill Itachi, so he is holding back. Itachi immediately releases some clones from his body and they go to hold back Zephyr. Now that he is fighting against cones, Zephyr doesn't hold back his strength against them. Pow! His fist is like an afterimage as it obliterates the clones' heads in one hit. Itachi winces slightly at this, but the clones still bought him enough time for him to get up. Immediately Itachi can see that Zephyr is charging straight at him. Saimai Kikken, Kami. Itachi's body gets thinner and he disappears from his place too. At this time, Ain is looking at her teacher and Itachi sparring against each other and she can't follow their movements at all even as she tries her best. Fast, they are too fast. Think Ain with her eyes widened in shock. In only 1 month Itachi has advanced so much. He learned the 6 powers so quickly and can already use them so effectively as a fish can swim. If she didn't know any better, she would think that he has grown up observing Cypher Pole agents that use these powers. At this time she can see Zephyr punch Itachi in the head, Itachi back, and he hits a tree head first. But immediately he gets up again and is full of vigor as he charges at Zephyr once again, even as blood flows out of his head. Zephyr has a smile on his face and punches at this, and he punches at Itachi again. This kid is something else, thinks Zephyr, full of pride in his heart. A child like Itachi in his eyes is someone who only appears once a generation in the Marines. Itachi this month has worked way harder than most Marines work in their lives. Though Zephyr thinks that, he still charges at Itachi, and this time Itachi looks at him with a ferocious look on his eyes. Instead of blocking Zephyr's punch, he counters his own. Bomb! Their fists clash, and for a split second Zephyr's eyes widen a little. He can feel his armament hockey clash against Itachi's. This brat just used armament hockey. Fwash! Bomb! Still, Itachi flies backward and his body bounces off the ground twice before crashing on a tree. Again, he gets up and charges at Zephyr again. He didn't lie down at all to rest or anything like that. Zephyr's smile widens even more as even he can't help but admire Itachi's tendency to never give up. The kid should be at his limits, thinks Zephyr, and he appears behind Itachi and punches towards his skull. But contrary to his expectations, Itachi's head turned around, and as Zephyr's fist hits Itachi's skull, at the same time the old man too can feel Itachi's fist sink into his stomach. Blue. Zephyr spits a fist full of blood from his mouth. Itachi is already using armament hockey, though his hockey hasn't darkened yet. His hits still have a higher attack power than normal. Suddenly out of Itachi's back a clone, but it is only the upper body of the clone as it is still attached to Itachi. The clone punches Zephyr in the face countless times. The old admiral has a smile on his face, even as it is bloodied. But at the same time, Itachi's fighting performance was stellar in Zephyr's eyes. But Itachi wasn't satisfied at all with himself. He has already sent back the feed to his family on how to learn the 6 powers and Saimakiken, life return. His father and some of his siblings already beyond mastered it. He also for the first time saw his father's natural talent, and he understood that no matter how amazing his siblings were, his dad learned life return in only under a week and could change between thin form for speed and bulk form for more power in under a second. His father at this stage in his life got stronger once again. I must be better to even be able to protect my family. At this rate, I will be the one needed to be protected by them, thinks Itachi, his adrenaline rising so high that he was running all in adrenaline and willpower. Zephyr used his mechanical arm to hit Itachi in the stomach. But Itachi uses Tekai and jumps back at the same time, completely nullifying the power of the punch. At the same time, he digs his feet on the ground to stop himself from flying away as Zephyr increases the power that he uses against Itachi. Zephyr takes the initiative this time and his fleshy arm turns blurry as Itachi can feel exactly 58 punches hit him in a split second. Still, Itachi doesn't buckle under the attack as he uses Tekai and life return to bulk up his body into that of a muscular adult. At this time Itachi walks forward, but he feels the world turn and falls on the ground. Bomb! He falls on the ground. Zephyr looks at Itachi and sighs. Seems like you went beyond your limits once again and your muscles shut down once again. Zephyr noticed something strange about Itachi. The kid can easily go beyond his limits, which allows him to fight even after his body suffers extreme fatigue and pain. His body also heals all of the damage it sustains by the next day. In 1 month Itachi had raised his Jiriki by 110, making it at an overall 910 now. That is increasing his Jiriki by 3.6 every day. That is a crazy number, especially for Itachi, who is a 12-year-old, though he doesn't look his age at all. At the same time, in an undisclosed location on the New World, Jaw is reading a newspaper as his body goes through the bulk and lean stages in seconds. He even goes to bulk just his arm to a muscular level. I think I mastered life return, contemplates Jaw, as his body still keeps changing through different muscular systems. He trains for around 18 hours a day ever since Itachi told him about the way the Marines train their 6 powers. My power has once again. I have become stronger once again. Jaw has a smile on his face as he contemplated this. Chapter 54, Plans for the Future. I must say that maybe life return can be the way for me to be able to break my limits at a whim. This is like a gear second, in a way a power-up for me. Also, I can eat as much as I want and I can easily digest that food as quickly as I want. Also, my mastery of it is quite good in my opinion. I can manipulate the muscles just in my arm to bulk up so I don't lose any speed while I gain power. Though it looks weird when I do that, I don't care about my appearance. Also, life return is about mindset as it is about body control. Though for me, it wasn't that hard to learn since my body is already at its limit, and learning new things is easy due to not needing to train my body to be able to use the technique. Itachi has truly outdone himself this time. He single-handedly just raised the strength of his family by giving us training methods and knowledge from the Marines. Khalifa is also a good teacher, but at the same time, she knew nothing more about the life return technique than it just existed. Anyway, I have already learned the 6 powers and have created plenty of variations of them. So now I should be moderately strong inland too. Though sadly, I still don't think I can defeat a Yonko even as my strength has raised. I can now compete with them on land, but defeating them is questionable, maybe have a 40% chance or something like that. Against Whitebeard, I have a 10 to 20% chance of winning on land. Those are neither possibilities that I am willing to take, only a fool or a gambling addict takes chances like that. I might not be the smartest man in the world, but I am still not stupid enough to play with fire. Maybe when I am around 30 years old I will have around a 50% chance against Big Mom and Kaido on land. The reason that I can't go any higher is because fire is my weakness, so to say. I can't use Fishman karate and even my skin dries. Both Big Mom and Kaido can use fire. Still, I can be careful about this and play it safe. I can defeat them in most of the world which consists of water. Also, I never plan to ever fight fairly. I am a pirate. If I am fighting fairly, then I should change my profession to being a fool. As my children grow up and their strength starts becoming high enough for them to influence a Yonko battle, I will use them to crush the other Yonko. If Kakashi and Kisame grow to just the minimum of what I have in my vision of their future strength, then my chances of defeating a Yonko, even Whitebeard on land, go to 90 to 98%. An almost assured victory. Also, if Makoto can touch a Big Mom with her mark fruit, then we can just send daily bombs at her and eventually kill her. Katakuri is no longer a match against me. I am a direct counter to him. Then there is Kaido. I can defeat him if we fight. His crazy endurance and stamina is a bit of a problem, but it's not that big. Only to weaklings does Kaido's endurance seem unbeatable. To me, it is only a minor inconvenience, and even I have achieved something similar. I constantly have an invisible armament hockey around my body. Bullets, swords, punches, etc., they do not affect me. Especially now, even cannonballs are only dangerous because of their shock damage, which can rock around my brain inside my skull and knock me out. I should start some aggressive expansion tactics soon. I have stabilized my power and no Yonko, except Whitebeard, dares to meet me at sea. I am planning to target Big Mom soon. No, not yet. I better wait until my older children grow up. Then I can start taking some of the islands Big Mom has under her protection. Currently, of all of the Yonko, I have the 3rd largest territory. My territory is also very divided, most of it is. The most territory in the New World is held by Whitebeard, then comes Big Mom, then me and Kaido as last. I don't think Kaido cares about any of that. He has Wano, and after that, it has some islands around it. But at the same time, Wano is the place where it is said that sea stone originated from. So the place is bound to be very rich in resources and it's self-sufficient. It trades in weapons most of the time, while I trade in raw materials, and weapons too, but mostly for the world government. Big Mom trades in food and such things. Whitebeard does his own thing. He doesn't really care to raise his power anymore and just puts islands under his protection if he sees them being in danger or poor. We the other Yonko can yap as much as we want, but none of us can beat a Whitebeard at his current age, 64. He is beyond dangerous. I plan to get his fruit and give it to one of my children. But at the same time, I can't beat Whitebeard currently. I better let the world government weaken him for me before I take advantage of that. I will also get the Yami Yami no Mi while I am at it. A smirk appears on my face as I guide the cells inside my body to reinforce my muscles and such. But currently, my most dangerous enemy is the world government. We are cooperating at the moment, but nothing more. I give them weapons and some raw materials that I mine from the bottom of the sea. Though they give me a lot in return for my services, they give me devil fruits, sea stone weapons, chains, spears, handcuffs, etc. They also give me certain leverage that none of the Yonko have. I can go and get some scientists from Vegapunk's hometown and they don't make a fuss about it. Our relationship might seem stable, but I have always known that they will stab me in the back as soon as it suits them. So I am leveraging as much as I can from them, building as much of my power as I can. I also have some of the kings and queens that attend the reverie in my pocket, meaning that they technically can have the tools to gather the whole world against me if they decide to. That is the worst case scenario for me, so I have made that almost impossible now. Sadly, King Tacos had to die so he could put the seeds of doubt in the other kinds. He was killed by Cypher Pole. Everyone, smart, can see that as clear as day. So this pushes more people to make deals with me, just in case the world government decides for them to have an accident. Chapter 55, Finding a Lion. At this time Jaw also starts searching for some devil fruits that will appear later on and their users. His search has some successes as he finds the current user of the swamp fruit and he gifts it to his daughter Urza. Also currently during this time, Naruto is in Rizakana Island. In this place, animals exist that make some accomplished New World pirates. Currently, Naruto is hiding in a tree as a giant blue gorilla goes around breaking around trees. Boom! Naruto sighs a little as he has scratches around his body. Under his shirt, something moves, and Dead Cat, Naruto's pet cat, pops his head out of Naruto's shirt. It smells a little of the air and his mustaches twitch slightly. The cat then nudges Naruto, who nods at this. He immediately moves amongst the trees. But Dead Cat warns him by mowing slightly, which causes Naruto to jump even higher. He sees a giant snake as thick as a tree come to bite towards him. Damn, this is dangerous. One bite from it and I will die. Contemplates Naruto. He has chosen to take part in this island's training as his strong siblings have all already completed it. They also said that it was quite easy, so honestly, he took this training test out of fun, which has turned into a nightmare for him. Not only I don't know how to find any food on this island, I have to try hard to try and not become food. I have also eaten anything except berries and some mushrooms that Dead Cat has verified that they are not poisonous by his sense of smell. Contemplates Naruto, though he and Dead Cat act like they usually can't stand each other. He and Naruto care and will take care of each other when the time comes. Jaw wouldn't have allowed a cat to live if it really messed around with Naruto. Jaw currently is in his office, having a meeting with all of his children. Kisame sees his father seems worried about something, so he asks, "What's wrong, Dad?" Kakashi is the one to answer the question by saying, "Well, Dad hasn't been able to find Shiki. He wants his devil fruit. He planned to give it to one of us. Shiki is someone who could compete with Roger, and his fruit is a big deal to his power. Dad is very confident in winning if he fights Shiki. But we have not been able to even catch sight of Shiki." Some of Jaw's children seem a little surprised by this. They never quite understand their father's plans. The closest one to doing so is Kakashi. But even he doesn't know how his father comes up with them, and to be able to figure out people's reactions. The discussion lasts about 3 hours and in the end, Jaw orders his children that they will start moving soon. The world will keep moving even without them, so they will have to move too if they want to keep up. Jaw is truly a little annoyed at how he can't find any hint of where Shiki is. If he had Shiki's devil fruit, one of his children will instantly become Yonko commander. Even if they aren't personally strong, the fruit can make him or something amazing. It will allow someone to constantly have the field advantage, no matter what. 1 year passes after that. Jaw is currently planning his next moves and contemplating them. He is trying to see if he has any movements from the other Yonko or any new upjumped New World pirate captain that might need a reality check. The reality check will be their head getting separated from their bodies. If a pirate captain, or anyone really, causes a problem in Fishman Island while entering the New World, then they are pretty much declaring war on Jaw. There are no seas that they will be safe on. At the same time, in some floating island archipelagos, countless people were living in them. Also the center there is one giant palace that connects all of the other islands with the help of different styles of brides. Inside the palace, there is Shiki with half a ship will stuck in his head. He has a cigar in his mouth. Jaw, that kid used to be in Roger's crew. Shiki contemplates as he already knows that Jaw is looking for him, though he is currently in hiding. He can't help but contemplate different things. His legs twitch with pain on their legs. I should give him a chance and he will find me. That way I can at least test if he is good at being referred to as part of Roger's crew. Jaw can already see this, but he still takes the bait fully. So he travels to East Blue and by using Makoto's devil fruit, Mark Fruit, to float as he already carried her in secret and touched one of the island's members in secret with Jaw 1 week ago. So now they are targeting the normal person with a target. So Jaws has brought almost all of his non-Fishman fighters to fight against Shiki. At this time Shiki is currently floating above his islands while seeing Jaws' army. 2 quick slashes from his sword legs and 2 giant flying slashes go towards Jaws' fleet. Jaw sees this and just takes a deep breath. As he does so it feels like a vacuum cleaner as he takes a deep breath. Phew! A giant gust of wind comes out of Jaw's mouth like a splitting wave which causes the 2 slashes to clash against each other. Boom! Shiki, I am here to collect your power, says Jaw openly and without concern or reservation on his intentions. Shiki on the other hand seems a little pissed off about this as he bites off the cigar on his mouth. You brats nowadays should have more respect for Roger and his legacy. As Shiki says that he truly means it, he has seen how some trash rookies allow them to get higher. Jaw's face morphs into a smile. Make me, old man. Oh, I definitely will, young brat, says Shiki with his anger rising every second they talk to each other as giant elemental structures rise taking the form of lion heads. His pride should at least keep him from running away. That would be my biggest problem solved if it goes to plan. Thanks Jaw, he has already put the old Shiki in his invisible web of lies and deceit. He knows that if Shiki wants to run away with his float devil fruit, then it would be almost impossible to defeat him. One of the lion heads made out of stone charges at Jaw who just punches forward, easily breaking it. He could see that his children with their power and devil fruits have an advantage against Shiki's. So this is what it feels like having a true strong advantage against an enemy. This is the first time. Chapter 56, Running Away. Shiki immediately attacks Jaw with different powerful sword slashes and giant rock structures that are thrown towards him at different speeds. This is the advantage that Shiki has. He has now created a good territory advantage for himself. But Jaw on the other hand isn't that threatened at this. Shiki doesn't have the power to threaten Jaw anymore. This is especially so as a figure appears behind Shiki like a lightning bolt. It is Kakashi and he extends his hand toward the golden lion Shiki. Less than 200 million volt. BZZZZT. The lightning goes towards Shiki who dodges this attack easily as he levitates himself away from it while at the same time appearing next to Kakashi and hitting him with a chop to his neck. Kakashi brings his arm up and winces a little as Shiki hits him with a powerful hockey blow that shatters his arm. Don't interrupt when adults are doing their things, little kid, says Shiki with an annoyed expression on his face. But Jaw while he saw this smirks a little. Dumbass, underestimating Kakashi is the worst thing that you could have done in this battle. Though hit, Kakashi still turns into lightning and envelopes Shiki, paralyzing him for a split second. That is all Jaw needed as Kakashi moves away in his lightning form while his father descends upon Shiki with restless fury. Bam! 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 Countless punches landed on Shiki in a split second making him spew blood like a fountain. Jaw is still calm and can use his future sight observation hockey, but he still doesn't like seeing someone hit his kids like that. So he bloodies up Shiki and breaks every single bone in his body. Shiki is no match with Jaw in a physical contest. Jaw grabs Shiki by the throat and takes out his sea stone coin. Shiki can feel the dangerous feeling coming from the coin. Sea stone, thinks Shiki while panicking a little, but he is not someone so simple as he oriented his levitating islands in a split second to be above him and Jaw. He killed a lot of his crew members on this, but Shiki doesn't exactly care for those cannon fodder. So with a difficulty in his voice, Shiki warns Jaw by saying, "Touch me with that coin and I will be taking me with you to the depths of hell." "Is that so? I would like to see you trying then, old man," says Jaw as he touches Shiki with his sea stone coin. The islands above Jaw immediately lose their floating properties granted to them by Shiki's float fruit, so they start falling towards them. Shiki smiles a little at this. "Well, that was the wrong choice, you up-jumped shark." Jaw doesn't mind the insults at all. He has the natural ability to not really care what people say about him. The islands start crashing towards Jaw and Shiki. The former still doesn't let off his grip on the latter's throat. Jaw also doesn't let go of the coin touching Shiki's skin. What to do? Contemplates Jaw. He knows that he will be able to survive this attack, with possibly some heavy injuries of course. Even though Shiki will die with him, he doesn't mind. He wants his devil fruit, but Shiki's fruit could be lost forever if it reincarnates as a sea fruit while being carried away by the currents. In the end, Jaw sinks his fingers in Shiki's abdominal flesh and drops his coin close to Shiki's stomach. Shiki is immediately weakened due to the heavy concentration of sea stone on the coin. He then looks at one of the ships with Kakashi and Makoto in it. He looks at his daughter and says, "Catch!" He throws Shiki's body away at breakneck speeds, and as he looks at the giant islands coming to crash onto him, he can't escape them due to their wide range. "Welp, seems like I will have to do it," thinks Jaw as he pulls out his katana that he is holding in a scabbard on his back. The katana immediately crackles with lightning as Jaw picks it up. This sword is called Raijin and it has eaten the spark fruit, Paramecia. Jaw takes a deep breath. Lightning slowly runs through his body from the sword. He doesn't resist it. Instead, he lets the lightning run through his body. The muscles in his arms bulk up unnaturally. He then puts the katana back on his scabbard, stopping the lightning from running through his body. He has already finished his attack. Lightning sword style, heavenly slash. Boom! Suddenly huge explosive sounds come out as the islands above Jaw are split in two. As this form isn't able to be sustained for long periods as Jaw doesn't resist the lightning actually hurts his body. So he always uses the ability in only one singular attack. The islands fall on the sea. Jaw then looks at where he threw Shiki and he sees an injured Makoto bleeding out of her side while Kakashi is doing first aid on her. Shiki had escaped. Jaw POV. I use Jeppo and arrive at where the floating ships being held together by Makoto's power are. She is still able to hold her mark fruit to the extent where the ships don't crash together towards the flying bird. Makoto also now has a red glove on her left hand. I already predicted that Shiki might be able to escape, that is why I threw him towards Makoto. "Did you mark him?" I ask Makoto while I get close to her and examine the wound to her side. Kakashi has a calm look on his face while this happens. He knows and understands why I did what I did. He has one of his arms crushed and even though Shiki is weakened, he is still dangerous and could escape. I left Kisame back on Fishman Island to keep a look over things, else I would have thrown Shiki at him, where I know he wouldn't be able to escape from. Well, it doesn't matter as I see the slight smile on Makoto's face as she gets up as soon as her wound is patched up. I didn't raise weaklings to whine about every injury that they get. "Yes, Dad, I marked him." "When are we gonna start chasing him?" asks Makoto with a serious look on her face. Kakashi seems to be worried about his sister's injury, even though he seems nonchalant about his shattered arm. Jaw smiles at Makoto's question and answers it by saying, "We will immediately start perusing." He seems to have jumped off this ship and with my sea stone coin still inside of him. He definitely won't be able to use his devil fruit. Shiki at the moment was falling from 10,000 meters above the ground. He flies down like a bullet. Damn that bastard shark. He almost Fu Asterisk King killed me. He comes here and destroys the things that I have been working on for over a decade. He winces as he weakly moves his hand towards his stomach. He feels the sea stone coin still inside of his body. Jaw truly defeated him like a common criminal in under a minute. He moves his fingers inside his bloody stomach and slowly he can feel the coin as he takes it out and throws it away. But as he does so, his eyes start to close as he is too weakened by the sea stone still, and he falls towards the ocean. But just before he hits the water, where he would be dead as soon as he does so because he would drown. Shiki has some final thoughts to himself. I can't get killed by someone like Jaw when not even Roger could kill me. Fwash! Immediately he forces his tired body and uses his fruit to levitate himself just as he is about to touch the ocean floor. Jaw! I will Fu Asterisk King kill you. Thinks Shiki as he immediately flies away at top speeds. Chapter 57, Return, after the fight with Shiki. Jaw and his children chased him through East Blue, New World, Calm Belt, and many more areas of the world. But after a couple of months Jaw had to return home or else the other Yonko might get some strange ideas. At the same time, he also didn't allow any of his kids to go and chase Shiki, since Makoto already had Shiki marked by her mark fruit. So there was no rush currently to hunt him down yet. Still, Jaw was also having another problem. The Marines were sniffing around his territory. Currently, his territories are very divided and he needs to go through other Yonko's territories to be able to get to his other territory. Now to him, this is extremely inefficient. True, Whitebeard doesn't really mind as long as he doesn't cause trouble. But Kaido and Big Mom get very prickly about it. Jaw is currently in his main warship, which isn't really anything special and it's mostly used as a method of transportation of materials. Also due to him using the coating on his shop to travel underwater with Fishman guards, that is why his trade ships never get stolen or damaged. One is because he is a Yonko and if someone decides to mess with him then he will destroy them. Second, it is that they travel underwater. That is also the reason Jaw doesn't mind getting better territories on the outskirts and close to other Yonko's territories. Because these underwater travel methods are his way of absolutely ruling the underwater world. He plans to open some bases in the blues but he will need to be secretive about it. The world government won't like this if they know about it. So Jaw's crew and businesses will have accidents as soon as he tries to establish overseas. As Jaw is contemplating this he is just lying down on his bed inside his main ship. How do I handle this situation? Jaw's mind goes through many different ideas and such. Though he might not be the smartest man in the world and he can definitely be tricked and even possibly manipulated by the people smarter than him. He still thinks and contemplates his future actions way longer than a genius would need to, but he should be able to come up with moderately good plans as a genius would be able to. Though the genius might need 1 hour to come up with what Jaw would need 10 days to come up with. He also plans many of his future decisions and their possible derivations. While he was contemplating this, in Mariewa, the Gorosei, 5 elders, were in a lavish room waiting for someone. Suddenly the door opens and Sengoku comes in with a calm look on his face as he says, "You guys are sending the Marines to sniff around Yonko Jaw's territory. You know how that guy can be. We will have all of our military bases in the New World destroyed and no celestial dragons will dare to step in Sabati Archipelago, as he will kill them all. This is a stupid decision. Also, that red-hair pirate who has been growing stronger in the New World is more of concern currently. If another Emperor of the Sea appears, then the balance of power will flip." As Sengoku says this his face morphs into an angry scowl. He knows that Marines will die in the thousands, and for what? For nothing, that is what. Jaw will slaughter them all just so he can send a message to these stuck-up old brain-dead Fu Asterisk KS. Angrily Sengoku curses the 5 elders inside his head. He can't stand the sight of people willing to sacrifice men and look at them as just numbers. They don't think of them as fellow humans, as men with families, aspirations, dreams, and a family waiting for them to come back. Garp was right, staying as a vice admiral. he doesn't have to listen to these old fools at least. One of the 5 elders who is lying on the couch while holding a sword just looks at Sengoku and says, "It doesn't matter. Jaw has dangerous plans, he is a dangerous man and his influence grows stronger by the day." Sengoku can't help it as he clenches his teeth together. "You are also goddamn working with him." The elder with the strange curls and scar on his face just shakes his head at this. "Sengoku, we never work with pirates. We are simply doing an exchange of resources. But you are still making him stronger. No matter how you put it, the devil fruit, sea stone weapons, and the leverage that you give him to go and just simply take 2 high-level scientists. While we do nothing. He is your problem now, no matter what. I will not send men to clean your mess anymore." As he says that, Sengoku walks away from the people who are technically his superiors. He doesn't care what they have to say. They could ask their little pet Admiral Akainu to do their bidding and go cause havoc in Jaw's territory. But they know that they will be losing a very valuable dog if they decided to do that. Thinks Sengoku, knowing that Akainu is most likely to lose if he fights Jaw on the sea. At the same time, on the first half of the Grand Line in a certain marine battleship, a purple-haired man with a mechanical arm was ordering the men around him. This man is the ex-Admiral Zephyr. "You there, take a hold of the rudders," orders Zephyr. That one of the recruits calls out. "Zephyr, sir, a ship has been spotted not that far away." Zephyr looks towards the ship and sees an insignia that he is very familiar with. The ship looks like your average marine ship and it only has a crow head at the front of it. Zephyr smiles a little at this and announces to the people around him by saying, "Everyone, gather up and get ready to welcome Commander Karasu." Immediately as he says that, a door from the ship is slammed open and Ain comes out with a wide smile on her face. "Itachi is here?" exclaims Ain, and when Zephyr nods, she immediately squeals like a fangirl. Even the other Marines in the ship were surprised at hearing who it was. They are about to meet Itachi Uchiha, who is also known as Karasu, Crow. He is the youngest person to ever gain the commander rank. He will be the same for the captain rank too. He will be the youngest captain and the one who was raised through ranks. It is suspected that Itachi will become the next admiral of the Marines. Already he has a terrifying reputation and no pirate under 100 million SZ bounty can contend with Itachi. One of the younger trainees in the camp also has stars on her eyes, though she doesn't express her feelings about it like Ain just did. She is Isuka, a young woman with short vermilion hair, brown eyes, a band-aid on her left cheek, and a burn scar on the back of her hand. She wears a marine uniform with a collared, buttoned shirt, a tie, brown gloves, shorts, and heeled boots. She is a recruit to the Marines and she owes a huge debt to Itachi. "I wonder if he remembers me from back then," wonders Itsuka. Chapter 58, Commander Itachi. As Isuka has different emotions inside of her, the ship gets closer and closer, until it anchors next to Zephyr's ship. Zephyr has a smile on his face as he sees Itachi's clones managing everything in Itachi's ship. This is what makes the kid an exception to any other Marine, thinks Zephyr with a smile on his face. He doesn't even have a Marine crew. He is what someone calls a one-man army, literally. And if the rumors that I have been hearing lately are true, Itachi has become quite monstrous at using his devil fruit. In the end, Zephyr greets Itachi or one of his clones, even he wasn't sure which was which. "Itachi, have you got any pirate scum with you?" The Itachi that he asked looks at him and answers by nodding his head. "Yeah, I got 3 pirates with bounties over 50 million. They were kinda weak, but that doesn't matter now, I guess." Zephyr laughs at that. "Ha ha, Itachi, maybe you should go to the New World if you find the pirates around these parts too weak." Itachi shrugs at this and just walks away while another Itachi comes by. "Sup, I am the original. Anyway, Teacher Zephyr, I will leave these guys with you. I will go back to hunting some pirates again." Zephyr nods at this. Itachi is always hunting pirates, even the ones with dangerous devil fruits. Are they devil fruit users? Itachi shakes his head. "Nope, If they have a devil fruit I usually kill them. They are too troublesome to capture. Zephyr nods at this. Itachi is being logical here. Why waste time on capturing a pirate, better just kill him on the spot. They went to a life of crime, so they are trash. If they are afraid of dying, then maybe they shouldn't have chosen a life of crime. At least that is Zephyr's view on the whole thing. Being nice to pirates is not something that he believes in. In the end, Itachi doesn't stay with them for long as he tells them that he is currently hunting a pirate with a bounty above 100 million. But as he is far away enough, he goes to Jaya Island while under disguise. This is a pirate-infested town in the first half of the Grand Line, and it is also under the control of the Jaw pirates. Itachi is currently wearing a dark brown cloak with a sack on his back. As he walks along a certain building that seems like a bar, he enters inside and rowdy pirates are partying around. He can smell the aroma of alcohol along the tables as he just walks towards the bartender. As he is walking along, some of the pirates start fighting and one of them throws the other in a sumo throw. The person flies towards Itachi, who simply just walks normally and not even an inch away from him. The person flies and lands on one of the walls. Boom! The person is knocked out and the pirate who threw him away is basking in his temporary glory as the other drunk pirates cheer him on. In the end, Itachi just walks and doesn't pay any attention to the person. In the end, he walks behind the counter where the bartender is wiping some glasses. The bartender has a mustache and seems around middle-aged. Strangely, the bartender seems to not notice Itachi. Itachi then enters the room with the staff-only sign, and as he goes inside, there are cooks, waiters, and other staff who always seem to be looking away as he walks through and goes towards one of the doors with no signs on it. He opens the door and behind it are some stairs that go down leading into a dark place. Itachi walks forward with not even a sliver of caution nor worry. He walks along this way until he arrives at an underground lake. Immediately he jumps in, and as a devil fruit user, he can't swim so he starts sinking like a rock. But due to being half fishman, he can still breathe underwater. Even as he jumps underwater he still keeps the sack clenched on his hand. As he sinks for around 30 seconds, he can feel some giant sea kings looking at him. They seem like giant snakes, crocodiles, sharks, and many other variants of animals. Though Itachi still couldn't see the end of the sea kings surrounding him. Suddenly a shadow descends upon them all and an island-eater fish appears. It opens its giant mouth, swallowing both Itachi and the rest of the sea kings. Immediately the water around him flows in the island-eater's mouth and so does he. As he flows down he can finally see the end, and when he enters it, he looks around and sees that he is just floating above water while looking at the sky, or more correctly the painted-on sky. Suddenly a blue-skinned man on a boat comes next to Itachi and smiles at him. Itachi, long time no see. As he hears that, Itachi's face morphs into a small smirk. Kisame, your entrance was 2 out of 10 this time. Wah! No way, I even had the act of the mysterious stranger all on point, says Kisame, bewildered by this as he pulls up Itachi and puts him on the boat. Your look and personality don't suit the mystery appearances at all, you are also very distinguishing looking, explains Itachi, as he smiles a little. He and Kisame have these meetings quite often ever since he got his ship and was allowed to move around. Yeah. Mikoto keeps saying the same things, says Kisame with a slightly annoyed look on his face. So how has Dad been? Asks Itachi as he opens his sack that he has been carrying with him. Inside the sack, there are around 20 devil fruits. Kisame just takes the sack and puts it to the side as he smiles back at Itachi. Well, he has been good. But as you know, whenever these meetings come around he tries to convince to make you come back. He is worried that one day you might slip up, explains Kisame, as he takes out some meat that he had cooked before Itachi came here. He offers half of it to Itachi. This is his way of caring for his siblings. Then Kisame continues saying, Don't even know why Dad let you go if he was gonna be this worried about it. Itachi smiles at that fondly. Well, this is my way of protecting my family. Kisame frowns at that. We are not weak enough to need protection like this, Itachi," says Kisame as he tries to deter Itachi from the path that he is going. "He is my brother too. Dad is not the only one who is worried about Itachi's well-being." Itachi only looks down with a content smile on his face. This is my way of protecting the people that I love." Kisame's eyes widen at this. In the end, he can only sigh at the situation. He then looks at Itachi and smiles. Kakakakaka. "Itachi, enough talk about such depressing topics. How about something else now? So did you meet any cute girl while you were in the Marines?" As Kisame asks that, Itachi's face blushes for a split second as he thinks of a certain girl. Kisame's smile turns into an ecstatic one as he notices Itachi blushing. Chapter 59, Problems. I spend a couple of hours talking with Itachi and in the end, he still didn't give me anything to work with. I still have no idea which Marine girl he might have a crush on. Welp, I am an already married man, so I can't go around committing debauchery. Well, Shirahoshi is like only 9 years old currently, but still. I want to devote my romantic love to her. That is all that there is to it. I am saving myself for marriage and that is all that there is to it. I take the sack of devil fruits and start swimming away while Itachi will be brought back to his ship by a sea king. Itachi has been hunting pirate in paradise. This serves more than just a way to get his contributions, this is also a way for him to bring us devil fruits. Honestly, Itachi has been helping the family a whole bunch, even though I still think that this is too dangerous for someone like him. He is still family, and him sacrificing his life, just so we could become a little stronger. Still, I can't stop him. I would most likely do something similar if I was in his position. As his older brother, I can only support this decision of his and help him along the way. If he is somehow discovered, then we will simply flood Impel down. We might even get a devil fruit like the poison fruit for Magellan. That fruit would tremendously help us all. I bet that father would get that fruit as soon as the world government declares war against him or something like that. A couple of months pass after this whole ordeal with my meeting with Itachi. Currently, I am in a Pelennine island, which is under Dad's control and protection. Recently they have been having some problems with the Big Mom pirates just sailing around. Dad has been pretty clear to Big Mom, she should stop messing around or we will destroy Whole Cake Island. I am currently inside a fancy office with an old man in front of me. So how often have the Big Mom pirates been visiting this town? I ask an old man who has an apple-like hat. He has a white beard and gray eyes, he is the mayor of the island. He was appointed by Dad as a puppet leader of sorts. The old man seems nervous in front of me as he answers by saying, "Around 6 times in this last month, Serja Dash." I mean Kisame, sorry, it's just that your appearance is uncanny and you look a lot like your father. I nod at that. It seems like the Big Mom pirates are provoking us more likely. It seems like the Big Mom pirates are starting something again. Big Mom must have a lot of courage to do this. She must also have a plan because even though she is mad, her advisors, kids, aren't all stupid. Dad will order weapons to be brought here, so prepare the people for war and make a speech about it. I tell him that as I get up and go towards the window and jump off. As I start falling, I just forcefully kink the air and a sound that sounds like a bullet being shot is made as a small cloud is made below me as I kicked off the air. Jippo. Immediately I start flying off into the distance. Flying is faster than walking, so as I fly I suddenly frown a little as I feel something shift behind me. I immediately use Tekai to harden my back muscles, while on top of it I use armament hockey to defend too. Bomb! I feel a kick hit me on my back, but I don't even flinch as I turn around midair and try to grab the foot that kicked me. But as I do so, I can see the limb turn into some kind of cream before I even touch the foot. I look at my assailant and see that it was someone very familiar. Katakuri. I say calmly as my eyes narrow at him. You want to die by coming here or something? Katakuri doesn't answer as his arm enlarges and gets covered in hockey as he punches at me. Bomb! It hits me head on and I am thrown down on the ground, creating a huge crater under me. Boom! I just lie down as I look at Katakuri using a trident to attack me. Clang! But I too pull my heavy sword and clash against him. As we do so, both of our conquerors' haki leaks out as every creature around us is knocked out. Damn, this will be hard. General POV. While Katakuri and Kisame were fighting, Kisame didn't know that above clouds there was a cloud with a happy smile on his face. Standing on the cloud was Big Mom, Smoothie, and Cracker, who was with his real body there. Big Mom has an annoyed look on her face. I thought the shark would come. Not his son. Smoothie, on the other hand, has a frown on her face. That kid is supposed to be only 13, but by his body size and raw strength, which almost seems to match Katakuri, he is strong. He is someone worthy of being called that man's son. Cracker snickered at this. If Katakuri wasn't so honorable and wanted to fight the kid one-on-one, then Mother would have already slapped the little fish to death. As Cracker thinks, he rubs his abdomen, there was a giant scar in there. That was the place in which Jaw punched him a long time ago. The punch had obliterated his bones and hurt some of his organs due to Jaw using an advanced form of armament haki. He had almost died from that punch. Smoothie, on the other hand, still has a worried look on her face, and she suggests we should kill him as soon as Katakuri defeats him. She is afraid of Kisame becoming another Jaw. That would be like two Yonko making an alliance. On the other hand, Katakuri and Kisame were still fighting as Katakuri creates hands made out of machi on his back, and they all were covered in haki. Machi machine gun. Bam! 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 Hundreds of hits rain down on Kisame, and a little blood comes out of his mouth. In the end, he throws his sword away and uses one hand to guard, and pulls his other hand backward. Less than 10,000 brick fist. Boom! All of Katakuri's hits are repelled backward, and Kisame uses the water in the air as he slaps the air in front of him. Shark arrows. Dozens of small shark-like arrows made out of water appear. Katakuri, on the other hand, looks into the future a couple of seconds and dodges all of the attacks by turning his body into machi. His hand then touches the ground, and immediately the earth below them turns into machi as it encompasses Kisame, and it starts choking him and restricting his moves. There was not enough water around for Kisame to use to counter Katakuri's machi. *T, this is really bad, thinks Kisame as he is engulfed by machi. Chapter 60, Kisame vs. Katakuri. As Katakuri notices that Kisame has a dagger coated with sea stone. Something like this can be only made by Wano craftsmen or the world government. Does Jaw have a secret alliance with Kaido now? Or maybe he has some backhanded deals with the world government. *T seems like Jaw has been growing stronger again. Katakuri was contemplating how Kisame was able to get a dagger made like that. No matter the answer to it, he was sure of one thing. Jaw is preparing for something? In the end, Katakuri stops thinking about things like that, and instead he concentrates fully on his battle with Kisame. He coats his arms in haki, and machi donuts are made around Kisame. Pow! 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 Countless fists covered in haki bash Kisame, who winces a little as he can a slight internal pain at this. But he covers his whole body in armament haki as a mode of defense. His skin turns into a dark, and he then grabs his sea stone dagger in a reverse grip. He tries to cut some of the fists hitting him, but due to Katakuri's future vision, all of the fists hit Kisame in weak points. So he starts feeling a slight internal pain as hundreds of hits hit him. Kisame then plans to use Life Return to bulk himself up so at least the hits will do less damage to him. But as soon as he plans to do that, the ground under him becomes a type of machi quicksand as it sucks him in. Kisame frowns at this. Fighting against Katakuri feels like fighting against his brother, Kakashi. He always used tricks like this that make the need for raw power needless. I know just the way on how to deal with people like this, deduced Kisame as his mind was solely concentrated in the fight and all other thoughts became second nature to him. I can see it, there is no way you can beat me, affirmed Katakuri. To him it wasn't a brag, just a fact. From what he has seen till now, Kisame is good at getting damaged and can brush off most hits. But in the end, he still can't defeat Katakuri. Kisame can't even hit him. Oh, I might not be able to beat you, or maybe I can. Who knows, but I am pretty sure I can hold you here long enough till my family comes and rips you apart. Confirms Kisame with a wide smile on his face. He then uses Haki and Jeppo, allowing him to escape from the restrictions on his legs. He is now midair. One of his legs moves like a snake and it creates countless wind blades. Reinkaku Storm. As Katakuri sees this, he can determine that each of these slashes has Haki in them. So he just looks into the future again and transforms his body into Machi wherever the Machi was gonna hit. As he does do, he jumps straight through the blades and towards Kisame. Kisame's eyes widen at this as he sees Katakuri easily moves through his wind blades. Karakuri appears in front of him and before Kisame can react, Katakuri's fist turns into square-shaped and is covered with Haki. Kakumachi, Squaremachi. Bomb! Teke. He hits Kisame in the stomach, and even though he tightened his abdominal muscles on top of his Haki, Kisame is injured as he spits out a handful of blood. Boom! He falls on the ground again and he makes a giant crater as he crashes. Kisame can feel his stomach cave in by that hit. It was painful as hell and he almost threw up his lunch due to it. What the hell? Acclaimed Kisame in his head, he has never been beaten so badly. He hasn't even put a scratch on Katakuri and already he feels as if his body is in extreme pain. I can't lose here. I am Dad's right-hand man. If I lose here, I will be a disgrace to be called his son anymore. As he thinks that, Kisame is pumped up again and he stands up, though with a little difficulty as he breathes heavily at this. Katakuri is a little surprised at this. After all, a 13-year-old just took on his strongest attack and still got up. I think you should give up, suggested Katakuri. You will not be able to take another one of my hits. Kisame's frowning face turns into a smile as he hears that. He looks at Katakuri with a mocking look on his face. Stupid, my father is gonna rule the world one day. I can't give up to a mere Yonko commander. As he hears that, veins pop in Katakuri's forehead, he pulls out his trident and Fwash! In a burst of speed, he appears behind Kisame and tries to pierce Kisame. But something surprising happens as Kisame kicks backward where he is. Bomb! Karakuri uses his trident to block the kick and then he brings his Haki-imbued blocky fist backward and he slams it towards Kisame's head. But Kisame turns around and his eyes are closed and as the fist hits him, he flows with the power of the fist. Like a leaf in the wind, his body takes almost no damage and he does a backflip due to the power of the fist and he uses the power accumulated by the fist and kicks Katakuri on the chin. Bomb! Katakuri can feel his brain is a little shaken so his vision blurred for a second. But his body moved by itself as he uses his devil fruit spins the hand which is holding his spear. Machi thrust. Fwash! Kisame attempts to dodge again. This surprises Katakuri a little. But in the end, he hits Kisame on his side, and piercing through it. Cough. Kisame coughs a little and attempts to attack Katakuri again, but Katakuri hits him in the head with his square machi. Bomb! Kisame immediately starts bleeding from his head and he falls on the ground unconscious as his eyes roll to the back of his head. Though Katakuri won this fight, he looks at Kisame's unconscious body and he can't help it but contemplate. That kid, did he just? After that ordeal, a couple of hours later, in York, New Island. A place filled full of futuristic buildings, Jaw is standing in there on a private park, playing with one of the newborns, Surzek. He is a red-haired and blue-eyed half-fishman. Come on now, Surzek, you want to be able to go with Daddy flying, right? Then you must eat vegetables and healthy food. One day, you won't even need to go with Daddy and would be able to fly by yourself. Stipulated Jaw, trying to have his son train harder one day. Okay, Daddy, answered Surzek. Then we can go and fly together, right, Dad? Jaw nods at this with a smile on his face. Of course we will, and then we see a dash. Sir Jaws, there is a call from Big Mom. Interrupted one Fishman as Jaw was about to say something. Though a little pissed off at being interrupted, he still has a smile on his face as he says to his son, "Seems like Daddy will have some work to do now, so go and play with your siblings, Sirzex." Sirzex jumps off Jaw's arms and spreads his arms like a bird, and he lands on the ground and starts running away with his arms spread wide like a plane. Jaw then takes the transponder snail and opens it. "Gotcha. What do you want, old hag?" asked Jaw as he answered the transponder snail. "Mama," laughs Big Mom. "I have something very precious to you, Jaw. I have a certain little shark that sure looks a lot like his father." As soon as she says that, a dangerous atmosphere appears around Jaw and his heart flows upward. Everything within his vicinity passes out as his conqueror's hockey bursts out of him, cracking the ground below him. "Big Mom, you are dead." That's the end of this tale for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in part 3. Peace.